afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday. Make sure nothing is exploding here. Everything seems to be okay. Thursday, June the 20th. Not that the weather outside would have you believe it. 2024, it's no Technical podcast. Close that out, do this. The amount of shit that Discord manages to make you click these days is out of control. There we go. It's no Technical podcast. Glad you could join us today. As always, great show lined up for you. The door is open to my office today. There is no choice. The door has to remain open. There is actually no other option. If I close that door today, I would be already long dead. I was streaming before this. There was no shot. I had to flip the heat pump over to just fan mode before we started this because they filled up the coolant for me when they were here because I have a leak in one of the coils, and so I have to kind of baby it a bit. I can't, if it's a day like today, I can't just like crank AC all day. I have to like take it off, run it fan mode, let the system chill the fuck out, or in this instance actually warm up a bit. Otherwise it spits ice all over the fucking room. And so right now she's on fan mode so that I don't have to run into that load of bullshit. But otherwise, it is hotter than fucking Hades out there right now. I literally went out just before we started, specifically to check the coolant line on the heat pump to see if it was sweating, and that's why I turned it to fan mode, because it was sweating. If I keep it running, it's going to freeze up, and then it's all over but the fucking crying. But I opened that door, and I walked outside, and just fucking blasted with heat. It was already warm yesterday. It's warmer today, which is nuts. Because I was downtown yesterday, and it was 32 degrees without the humidity. And I feel like it's even warmer. If I was downtown, like we're a little, it's not quite the same when you're not in the concrete jungle. But still, my God, the heat wave is very real. Regardless, before we get started, Mr. Black, how was your week?
Just another week, man. That's it. Just another week. I'm gonna go to the racetrack again. Going to Vegas next week, so there won't be a podcast next week because I fly out on Thursday. So
a UFC?
It was until McGregor bailed out. So now that fight is canceled. So I'm just going there now. So that's what I was going there for, but it is what it is. But yeah, I'll still have fun. World Series of Poker's going on there, so play some cards, hang out with some of the boys. Be a good time nonetheless. But outside of that, it's just been another week, man. Another week.
Fantastic. You got the car out to the track, though. I saw you put up a video. You've been learning to drive it, but then also having the old guy show you how hard the car can be driven. I watched a little bit of your the video that went up. That was fun to watch. Seeing your old man get out of the car. I think he said like I almost threw up or something like that because the guy was driving it so hard. Yeah. That was a fun video to watch. Kind of like I was gonna say when I was watching like up front in the beginning of the video when it was your dad in there, and even just watching it drive by and seeing how, I mean, it's Nova Scotia, so a racetrack is still in Nova Scotia, so the road's like quite bumpy, and I was like, there's no shot he's running that in sport because the fucking suspension is going to be rock fucking hard, and that shit will skid all over the place, and you'll have no traction whatsoever. And so when the old guy got in the car and the first thing he did was turn off the sport mode, I was like, oh, thank God. It's like somebody's going to die with the fucking sport mode turned on. It's crazy. That's crazy. But obviously you had fun with that. So how hard was he driving it? Because, we can't see a speedometer or anything like that on the video. So how hard was he driving it?
He was driving it pretty hard. Obviously he was careful because it's not his car and he didn't want to destroy destroy that car, right? So yeah. But man, he was driving her hard, man. It's not even the speed, man. It's the braking. It's the
how fast, how long he waits before he starts.
Yeah, I think the fastest he had it going was about 180. But the thing is
that's quick.
The straight lines are not very long. There's only one kind of straightaway. It's very twisty and turny. It is not like a track that you can get up to 250, 280 kilometers an hour. It's just there's just not enough runway. So, but yeah, it's more so the going fast into a turn and then kind of hitting the brakes. That's scary. But started getting used to it towards the end. But man, I didn't realize tracking a car like that takes it all out of you. Like your whole body is just you have to.
You're engaging your core the whole time because you're getting, no matter how sporty your sports seats are, you're getting thrown to the outside of the car constantly. Your neck is going to be stiff as fuck because you're also just G-force around a corner.
Dude, the next day I was sore. The next day.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Like my knees, everything. Like everything.
And then
was sore.
Concentrating super hard. So it's a mentally exhausting thing as well, especially when you're first starting and it's not second nature. And so you're like scared. So you got like adrenaline from like fear plus adrenaline like you would have regardless of whether or not you're fucking experienced. And then all that physical, you're probably dead the next day. You're probably just actually gassed.
Yeah, I probably did, I don't know how many laps in total between myself and the instructors. We probably did 30 laps, and I mean that's a lot. We did that we took breaks, so we do probably like 10 laps, break for like an hour and a half, talk about what's going on, do a walk around the track, kind of go over some things, and then go back in. Because if you go for like really it's about 20 minutes at a time, like 15 20 minutes, you're just go.
What's a full lap, like 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes?
No, I would say it's probably 2.5 minutes. I don't know for sure. I wasn't timing it, but I don't think it was 3 minutes. I don't think it's that long, but I would say between 2 and 3 minutes
somewhere
is probably
in there.
How long it takes. Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
dope.
But yeah, so do it again tomorrow.
That'll be with all the heat and shit. Oh boy, you're gonna have a lot of grip though. The tires aren't gonna take much to heat up on that.
All the grip. So, so yeah, we do it again, and that was basically my week. It's been chill,
Dope.
Maxing and relaxing. Got Suns baseball game tomorrow as well, so I'm just taking the day off streaming. Got so much shit to do. I got to go pick my mom up. She's coming. We're landscaping the house. We got all the back decks are done, so everything is stained, front stained. Everything's finally done. It looks so much better. Still got that ugly ass monstrosity of a pool, but I ain't got 38,000 and some change plus tax right now to go and get it done. So, because apparently buying a supercar is more important. So, here we are.
Priorities in life, sometimes.
Hey, you know what it is? Fuck a pool, man. Fuck the pool, man. The pool is a literal utter waste of goddamn money.
If Kai had shown way more interest in swimming, then
it'd be a different story.
Yeah.
Yes,
but he seemed to be pretty pool averse, which means you're more or less just paying money to maintain a big ass pool for no real
reason,
fucking payoff.
Yeah, we'll cross the bridge next year.
You could probably just deck that over if you wanted to, and then just put a fucking pavilion down there, and you could put not an awning, but you know what I mean. You could put the 4-post it, and you could make it real fancy there. You have kind of a fire pit area to the side, but you could make a much bigger seating area down there if you wanted to. And then if you ever wanted a pool again in the future,
you could throw it in.
You just take the area out and put the pool back in.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll cross the bridge next year. See what happens.
Yeah. We speaking of decks, so we got the first of the quotes back this week. And it was funnily enough, it was the second guy who had come. So he's more recent. And he was the guy that, I don't remember, was it before or after the podcast? So I don't know if I told the story or not. I think I did. Did I tell the story? So when he was supposed to be here at 11 o'clock in the morning, 11:45 rolls around. He's not here.
Yeah, I think you told me about that when I went to your house, but I don't think you said it on the podcast.
Yeah, but not on the podcast. So it was 11:45. So I texted him ETA. When are you going to be here? It's been 45 minutes. I booked out this time for you. You're 45 minutes late. Didn't call me, didn't text me ahead of time, no nothing. As soon as I text, he calls immediately. Says in a very like I would say Eastern European, so Polish Russian accent, my car's in the shop. I said, word? Well, you probably could have told me that an hour ago. Would have been like not a bad idea. Maybe 2 hours ago, and not 45 minutes after you were supposed to be here, where I have to text you to find out. So I knew he was bullshitting me anyway. Like the car in the shop, like really, that was the best. That's like family emergency level of ducking something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, well, I could be there, I guess, later today or another day. And I said, all right, well, how about, what is later today? What does that mean? Like, what time?
Yeah.
And he looked at the clock. He goes, oh, what time is it right now? And I was thinking, if your car is in the shop, what are you talking about? What time is it right now? That would be determined by when your car gets out of the fucking shop. Why are you so bad at lying, bro? Just be honest. Stop lying. Anyway, he came out and got out and was, all beer gutted out of his fucking tree, and wrote down the dimensions and all this stuff, talked to him about the deck. And this is not a big deck. This is really, really not a big deck. This is 10 by 14. This is not a huge deck. It's just an average, more or less an average. Around here, 10 by 14 is like the average size deck. Says, okay, takes the shit, goes away. Says, I'll get you back to you. So we get this quote a couple days back. I already knew it was going to be bad because I knew he didn't want to do the job. I got him to come out because I wanted to waste his time, because he was lying to me. So I forced him to come out anyway because he was lying to me. So I was just getting out here just to burn some gas so he could be out here for 2 seconds, because I knew he didn't want the job. I knew what he was doing was, as soon as he didn't seem to have any issues until I gave him the address. And so this is peak building season. So he's looking at where the house is and making assumptions on how big is this job likely to be. Do I even bother to go do a quote? Because I'm whale hunting in the summer months. I want $40,000 deck jobs. I want $30,000 deck jobs. I don't want your average fucking deck. I want to go out and fucking do composite on a 100-foot run on the back of some fucking like millionaire's house in Bear Cove. That's what I want to do. That's what he's thinking, right? And on top of that, I told him that I want the deck done with permits. Because if I rent out in the future and everything else, I don't want to have to deal with the fucking city.
I mean, you should be having permits anyway. So, yeah. You know what I mean?
So, and he had asked me, do you want to get the city involved? And I was like, yes, I would like to get the city involved. and he was like internal eye roll immediately. So I knew he didn't want to do the job. Anyway, so he gets me the quote. Long story short, he priced himself out of the job. So he sends me the quote, and it's for $15,000. So he didn't even like price himself out in the way that like he was thinking maybe I'll go a little over, and if they really if they're desperate, we'll make a couple extra thousand than we would normally. This guy
for a 10 by 14 deck,
doubled minimum, doubled the cost of the deck just to price himself out because he didn't want to do the job, and he didn't have the balls to just tell me. Like, what a pussy. So first he lies to me about the car, then he fucking prices about the deck, like absolute bitch behavior.
Yeah, you didn't tell me that part. Yeah.
No. Well, that's because I just got the quote. Like it was after you were here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolute bitch fucking material.
Oh, that's crazy, man. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Listen, bro, I'm gonna send you an email right now.
Oh, right. For like a couple of people. You might not have to, because a friend of the family is likely to do it. They only want to charge us like $500 in labor and then material. Okay, which is insane.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, man, I got a guy.
But if that falls through, yes, I will take. Okay. I will take. And I still have one other quote, and the other guy will not be quoting for $15,000. So because he's a normal human. He's a normal human being. And has multiple crew. This other guy, I think, is just like him, and that's the show. And so I think he's just whale hunting for like major decks and shit, and that's it. So anyway, he just wants to do 1 or 2 decks for the whole damn summer and have a year's worth of salary done. That's it. Yeah, that's
the show. Yeah, get back to drinking beer.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that was like the highlight of that for us here for this week was that quote. I laughed when I saw it. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So anyway, other than that, that's been it. I've been I caught up. I just finished for the podcast the Elden Ring DLC comes out tomorrow. And so in true Dark Souls game fashion, in order to access the DLC, and this was the same back with Dark Souls 1, there are certain bosses that you have to have beaten before you can access. And of course, I'd already beaten the game, so I had beaten these two bosses, but when you beat the game, your only way back in really is through New Game Plus. And so I had forgotten that part. And I had started a new character a couple weeks back in preparation for the DLC. Anyway, because I felt like doing a new character, but then I didn't have enough time to play it, so I was like, fuck. So I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'll just go back and I'll play my original file and it will be fine. Then I forgot that it was New Game Plus, so I had to catch up, but it's not hard. I've said this a few times on stream. People are like, is this New Game Plus? It looks easy. And the answer to that is yes. The first New Game Plus that you do, it scales quickly eventually, then you start getting your ass kicked in New Game Plus rounds. The first one, though, is a victory lap. You go in there and you are clapping everything. It doesn't matter what boss it is. If you built an even remotely good character on New Game Plus 1, you are just slaughtering everything wholesale, which has been what we've been doing. So I've already gone through. I killed Moog today. I killed Radon. And so now I'm ready to rock and get my ass kicked in the DLC because I suspect that shit's going to be crazy. Mm-hmm. And I have heard that if you don't want to be spoiled, you don't want to watch the launch trailer because the launch trailer has a bunch of kind of spoiler material in it. So if you are somebody that hasn't watched it yet and you don't want to get spoiled, don't watch the launch trailer. But I do know that there are some hardcore gaming journalists like Mr. Gene Park who is like 80 hours or something into this game DLC. This might as well be a part 2 entirely to Elden Ring. There is that much content apparently involved here. I'm sure if you main vein it, less than that, but the amount of, like, any Dark Souls game, there's a ton of fucking like bosses and shit everywhere else. And so for the amount of money you're spending, as is tradition with FromSoft, you're going to get your money's worth. And so I look forward to getting my shit pushed in tomorrow. It'll be very, very interesting to see what they've got. They've got new play styles, new weapons, and a bunch of stuff in there as well. So some mad bastard beat Elden Ring from the base game to New Game Plus 7 all in one run at level 1 without dying. Who are these people? I guess if you can beat it beat it one time on level 1, the rest means nothing because it just, like, you're already basically, you never get hit. Because if you're level 1 hit, you're dying. So I guess it's no more impressive if you do New Game Plus 7 than it is at the original run. But nevertheless, some people are nuts, bro. That community is crazy. People are out there doing nutty stuff. But let's talk a little bit more about some other news that happened this week. We don't have too much because, of course, we just left the highest density news week in the gaming year until basically the end of the year, with the exception of maybe Gamescom. But PlayStation and Nintendo both will not be there. So we are going to be in a slower news cycle for some time. However, we did have a Nintendo Direct that happened here the other day. I don't know if you saw anything on your timeline that came out of the Direct, Mr. Black. You might have saw one or two of the more highlighted things. The biggest one, of course, is a new Legend of Zelda game. Top down, and you are Zelda this time. Yep. You are playing as Princess
Kayla already
Zelda.
showed me that, so I'm going to pick that up when it comes out.
And you know what? It looks kind of dope. It's a unique take. You're not fighting with a sword. You're basically like using magic to summon materials of like the table is the one thing everyone talks about to solve areas and move on. So it's kind of a unique take. Interesting that we're finally playing Zelda now. For all those years that everyone was calling Link Zelda, now you can actually just call it Zelda, and you won't be wrong. You are actually Zelda this time. It will be fine. It's in that style they did for the Link's Awakening remake or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people like that aesthetic. Some people were like really super fucking angry about it for some reason. I thought it was fine. I thought it was kind of cute. I didn't have any problems with it. I played Link's Awakening. I thought it was also well done. The biggest problem for Link's Awakening was it ran like dog shit, but that's because it's running on the Switch. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. Can't really escape it. The thing is just not built for speed. It's just kind of the way it goes. Also, the other big new or notable drop during that was Metroid Prime 4 finally got some gameplay. The game exists. People can breathe again. People were wondering if it even existed, but it does indeed, and we got to see some gameplay for it. And of course, it looks very much like Metroid Prime on the GameCube. Visually, it even looks like Metroid Prime on the GameCube. And that's because the Switch is not exactly a far cry from the GameCube. It's not an enormous step. It's not like some crazy step up from there. So that being said, though, Metroid Prime was a fucking fire video game. And so if they just have more of that, I don't think anyone's going to complain. I think that will be fine. All the Metroid fans will be more than happy with that. We didn't get a hardcore release date, like a nailed down. We got a release year of 2025, so sometime next year. If I had to take a guess as to why we're getting a release year, there's a non-zero chance that they are still debating when they're going to release the Switch 2, and it might be a launch title alongside of the Switch 2, because something that you'll note when you're watching the gameplay for Metroid Prime 4 is that it runs at like an almost constant 60 FPS by the looks of it. And as we all know, almost nothing runs at 60 FPS on the Switch, let alone something as complex as Metroid Prime. You might get 60 FPS on some other stuff, but like if you're getting 30 FPS on a top-down Zelda game, the odds of getting 60 in Metroid Prime, slim. So my guess is we might have actually been watching Metroid Prime 4 in that gameplay. It could have been running on the next Switch hardware. And that's why it might have looked so good. And also why we're getting a release year. So we'll have to wait and see what comes out of that. But I have a feeling that's kind of what we were seeing. More than that, there was the first new... Are you seeing some trailer footage, Mr. Black? So you see what I mean?
I'm just watching that.
There's no shot that's running on the Switch. It's just no shot.
It looks great. I think it looks pretty fucking dope. See, I like this shit. Yeah. See, I like these types of graphics. I like it almost makes me feel like I'm still playing a retro game, but like new. Oh, it's a hard thing
aesthetics were really good. I liked the aesthetic of a lot of the GameCube era video game art. Like all of it looked really good. So yeah, I agree. It's a good mix of like it's nostalgic for us, but it doesn't look. It aged better than other.
It aged better.
Yeah.
I think it looks good.
Yeah, but I'm almost positive that shit ain't running on current Switches, because like it will, but the odds of it being 60, I feel like that's about zero.
The next Switch is going to be 60 frames, bro. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what we were seeing. Then we saw the new a new Mario and Luigi from the Mario and Luigi series, which we haven't had a game in that category in that series in, I think they said 8 or 9 years, which I think I gasped at when I was watching it, because I was like, there's no shot. It's been fucking 8 or 9 years. But apparently it has. And guess what? It's a Mario game, which means it looks really fucking good. More Mario. It's dope. I like the visuals. They look great. And some, unique new, as they always have. It's a Mario game. They always have some one or two new fucking fancy little things added in for like how the gameplay works, and it's just enough to sauce it up, make it different, and give it a cutesy story, and everyone's gonna buy it, and for good reason, because it's good shit.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game looks dope too. I'm gonna pick that one up as well. My son loves those games, but this one looks dope.
Yes, that's true. They had that as well. They also had a whole bunch of fighting games packaged together. But that's also coming out on, like we're talking about like Street Fighter and a whole bunch of the other Street Fighter offshoots, I think it was. I can't remember the full list now off the top of my head, but Maximilian Dude, I think actually came when he was watching that live. I'm pretty sure he had to change pants on the other side of it. The noises coming out of that man's mouth were impressive. But it's coming to Steam and PS4 as well. Xbox is getting shafted. Don't blame them. Nobody plays fighting games on the Xbox. Doesn't matter. So a lot of hype around that. And then another nostalgia throwback. I got kind of excited at first, and then I realized what was going to happen. So they showed Turok, like N64 Turok, which we haven't seen Nintendo even utter the word Turok in a million fucking years. And so when I saw Turok, I was like, okay, we're testing the waters. We're bringing old Turok back. We're seeing what people are biting on this or not. And so it's a Turok, re-release from the N64, like an emulated kind of deal, whatever. Okay, great. Then they bring out Perfect Dark. So they've got the Perfect Dark remake, or that's not a remake, it's like it runs on a Switch, and there's online multiplayer that you can do, and a couple of other little tidbits that they thrown in there. And I was like, all right, dope. That's fucking dope. Awesome. They've got Perfect Dark, they've got Turok. And then I remembered who we're talking about. It's Nintendo. And if there's one thing Nintendo is really good at, it's not giving a single, solitary, flying fuck about actually preserving any of their games at all. They're dog shit at it. It's by far their most toxic trait outside of their litigious bullshit, is their incessant need of selling old games with making it the worst version of said game possible. And so in the first, they released those that same day as the direct. And that same afternoon, people were posting all of the shit that was fucked on Perfect Dark, for example. The drunk, do you remember in Perfect Dark when you got like darted, like they hit you with a dart, like there was a drunk screen effect and shit like that? It is fucking busted on the Switch. Friggin' like it's unplayable. It's actually unplayable. The screen goes completely fucked. Like you can't do, like it's completely fucked out of its tree. When you shoot certain guns, the frame rate tanks to like 0, which it didn't even do on the N64. So somebody did a compilation of all of the shit of the Switch version and then recorded the same footage on a hardware 64. And dude, it's just fucking atrocious. It's so fucking bad. And that's why I stopped getting excited when I saw it when I was watching the direct. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, I know it's going to be bad. And it was. Nintendo delivered. I wish that they took that more seriously. They just don't. And what makes it worse is that they're super fucking litigious, and they take down all the emulator and ROM sites for people who are actually preserving their games properly. They could hire these people. They could pay to just take the fucking tech that the people have been working on for 20 years to make their games run as good or better than they've ever done before so that they can use them on their own consoles. But they say, no, fuck all of that. Let's just make the shittiest possible version of this game, put it out and sell it to people, and get rid of all the other ones that are running properly. And that shit drives me fucking crazy. Drives me right up the fucking wall. Like, we're at the point now where there's a couple of people who have gotten it so that you can take a Nintendo 64 ROM and run it through a decompile and compile sequence of sorts that converts it to an executable that can be run in a Windows environment that then allows you to do pure 4K, widescreen if you want. You can then, because it's running in a Windows environment, you can inject ray tracing or anything. You can run it at 60 FPS, but still have it internally running at N64's native 24 so it doesn't fuck up animations or anything else. Perfect. It's actual fucking goddamn perfection. And instead of Nintendo, with all of their money, all of their time, all of their connections, all of anything, they ignore all of that, and they get apparently 2 kids from junior high that have never coded in their life to bring all this shit to the Switch and then charge like a bunch of money for it is crazy. I just had to get that off my chest. I fucking hate it. Fuck Nintendo for that shit. I mean, thumbs up for like almost everything else Nintendo. It's just so painful to watch them torch all of their old games. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Imagine, like, they already sell well. Imagine how many more people would buy this shit if it didn't fucking run like ass and people didn't put up a bunch of compilations the same day where it's like, don't buy this fucking video game. Like, it's just, they like burning money. I don't understand what their fucking deal is. So Turok and Perfect Dark, don't buy them. Just don't. Even if you were considering it. I think they're available via the subscription service Nintendo runs for the, like, their older games. You just don't do it. Stay the fuck away. Don't encourage them. They're being idiots. And that was mostly the core of that Nintendo Direct. There was some good stuff in there considering. No mention yet, of course, although we knew this already that they weren't going to talk about it until later in the year, but no talk about the Switch 2. I suspect that will be probably, it's not going to be at Gamescom, but I suspect it will be around the Gamescom window, or maybe even in the fall or closer to the fall. Or further into the fall, sorry. So nothing like that, but we'll have to wait and see for more. After that, this has been a really slow week for games, but what we forgot to talk about the other week was we didn't get a chance to talk about David Kim and Uncapped Games, their new game, because we got to see actual gameplay and whatnot. That has been released. I have the link there. You probably already saw it anyway, Mr. Black, where it's Tasteless and Artosis doing canned commentary over top of gameplay with David sitting there, you know, talking about the mechanics of the game and going through the motions of a game that David had played himself, like a match that David had played. Have you not seen that? Have you seen it or not? You haven't seen it yet?
I saw like little mini clips on Twitter, but I haven't seen this video. So you just yap and I'll watch this real quick.
It's you can watch that. So basically, what you'll see in this video is, and we knew the process that they were going after with this game. We knew the premises that they were building off of, or the core ideas, fundamentals. David talked a lot in that video that we talked about before. We saw gameplay a couple months back. I think it was in the no clip documentary style video. He talked about accessibility. He talked about low skill like floor but high skill ceiling. He talked about trying to overcome some of what he saw as hurdles, both for new players, but also stuff that wasn't really contributing to anything for skilled players. Which I guess came down to things like unit control and whatnot, and how you tackle unit control and the macro side versus the micro side, things of that nature. Yeah. They talked about all this. This is Battle Aces, in case you guys missed it. This is the David Kim, of StarCraft 2 fame, his thing. So we've got, on one side we've got Stormgate, and on the other side we have Battle Aces. They're tackling this very, like, both wildly different, like totally different categories of RTS. And so, yeah, I would say that this looks like Battle Aces looks like a game that they are targeting.
I think they are targeting vibe to it, like a MOBA. I don't know. Let's put it this way. They've capped the matches. All matches are the same length, maximum 10 minutes. So regardless of what happens in the game, everything is score based, and so you either win outright by actual win conditions inside of 10 minutes, or the game ends at the 10-minute mark, and then whoever has the highest score wins. I can't tell you the ins and outs of how the scoring is done. I don't know how. Yeah. I can't remember. I don't think they talked about it in that great a detail, except for to just mention that was how it would work. It looks like a game built for mobile,
It looks like a game built for the mobile generation of attention spans. The 10-minute mark feels weird. I don't know if I hate the idea of a cap and score system. I just feel like 10 minutes is too short for any, all of the mechanics are obviously tuned for speed to accommodate that 10-minute window. Like, that is the nature of the game. But I feel like 15 minutes is if you were going to cap a game for me, I would say 15 minutes would have been a nicer window. But we have to wait and see more, I guess. But 10 just feels so short. It just feels like I get anxiety thinking about it. Like, just thinking about the speed in which things would have to happen.
10-minute games? Yeah, I mean, maybe they changed that. I mean, aesthetically,
they could.
Aesthetically, it looks better than Stormgate. I mean, I like the visuals. I mean, I can clearly see what's happening. The animations are clean.
Yeah,
it reads way better.
Yeah,
just like the depth and the texture, just the color palette looks so much cleaner. But the 10-minute shit, that makes me nervous. And I feel like if it has to do with points, it's going to become not necessarily about who can beat who, but who can outpoint who. You know, there's probably going to be these like ridiculous strategies where you go out, you get some points, whatever would deem, whatever, and then you kind of like stall or be defensive and force. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like it might be too much of a technical in terms of like point, almost like watching like two excellent boxers being very defensive and not really
this
like
is Floyd Mayweather versus Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you got in a couple punches. Okay, now we're just gonna roll the shoulders. And we're just going to outpoint. We're going to take a round off. Hey, we got 3 minutes left of this game. Don't do anything crazy. Play it safe. Wait out the clock. Like, that just seems something that I would despise if that's how the game is going to be. But I don't know. We haven't played it.
I'm sure they've thought about that and would have, they don't want people camping. I think that's like part of given the 10-minute time limit, I think they want the pace to be, I think they want to reward pace and reward activity. And so I would suspect that the points would be hard to bank up and then sit on and then just win by virtue of that. But you're right, I would agree, no question, that if that was the case, it would be a nightmare, because now you're not only trying to strategize against a win condition other than points, but you're also now trying to just counter your opponent's ability to camp on points, and you're fighting. It would feel like you're fighting both your opponent and the game. You know what I mean? Like, so it's you versus the game mechanic, and then you versus the opponent. And I don't. It depends on how they handle that. It's entirely possible that they can figure that out. I can't remember the resources if going up,
but I'm gonna
that shit.
Yeah. I'll look up on this in the next, not next week, but the week after. I'll give you my thoughts on it.
We're gonna see more as time goes on in more detail, and stuff could likely still change, obviously, at this stage of development. However, I will say that I won't lie, just like with, for different reasons. So with Stormgate, I felt like they showed the game too soon, and so like a lot of my disappointment and concerns were born out of just showing the game too fucking soon. And with this, I think they showed it at the right moment as far as development is concerned, but my concerns are for different reasons that are just actually integral to the game itself. I'm wondering how the traditional RTS fan base will react to this. And then the follow-up question to that is, do they care? Because maybe that's not who they're even targeting. Or they're not targeting them in the majority. They're saying, we'll take whoever we can get from the RTS side, but that pool is too small, and we need to get a bigger pool. And the way to a bigger pool is something like a TikTok brain 10-minute time limit, and remove a bunch of the harder, what might be considered kind of tedium mechanics, like the in between moments.
Yeah,
maybe that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably it. I think they're just going after another demographic, making the game a little bit more digestible. I think maybe the hardcore competitive RTS players are gonna fucking hate this game. I haven't looked on the forums, or I haven't done any research, but my guess is they're gonna look at that and go, David Kim, what the fuck?
Or at the very least, they might be a little bit like.
I think there's going to be what
concern,
the fucks. Right? I think there's probably a what the fucks.
Yeah, probably.
But with that being said, do we really need another StarCraft clone? I mean, Stormgate is doing their thing. You've got that other Zero Space, or whatever it's called, Zero Space.
Zero Space. I think it's Zero Space. Something along those lines.
You got Zero Space. You got Stormgate. You've actually got StarCraft. That's still the one. I mean, Stormgate is quite literally trying to be the next StarCraft, right? It turns out that it's more so like Warcraft to me than StarCraft, but it still has StarCraft elements to it. But this game just doesn't even seem like it is an RTS, but it doesn't even seem like it's the same type of RTS. So I actually, as much as I think that I'm probably not gonna fuck with this game, it kind of reminds me of the game that we were promoting for a while, and the game that I was in and you were in.
Yeah, fucking, battle something.
No, drop
zone.
It reminds me of Drop Zone.
Yes, yeah, a little bit.
It's kind of got a Drop Zone feel to it, and Drop Zone was an RTS that was targeting MOBA and RTS. Shorter games, kind of point A to point B type thing. I don't know if that's necessarily the case here, because I haven't really dug deep. I was kind of watching the video without audio while you were talking, but I just think they're going after a different demographic, and to be honest, I think it's smart. There's a chance that the game could do really well, but chances are it's an RTS, is probably going to fail. But maybe this is a game that's going to be on mobile as well, and maybe that's why it looks like a mobile game, and maybe that's why the games are 10 minutes. There is a good chance that this game could be a mobile RTS game that a lot of people that have one of these can just pick up and play. And hey, if you're competitive as fuck, there's a ceiling for you, and if you just want to get in and play, it's 10 minutes, play it, have fun. That's my bet. I think that it's going to be on PC, but it will also be on phones. And that's the reason why the game is 10 minutes. Because if not, why are you having a 10-minute RTS on PC and you want it to be competitive?
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes?
Like break time at work, like let me squeeze in a game on my phone type material.
Yeah, and like think about it, dude. Like in StarCraft, in the 10-minute mark, a lot can happen now because the game is so much faster. But with that being said, there's only so many variations of things that can actually happen in a 10-minute mark, just from the simple fact
limit alone.
Of the time limit alone. You're not going to get to, mass units or whatever in 10 minutes unless like there's no harassment and you're just macro heavy, and then you're boom at 8 to 10 minute mark, you've got a massive army. But for the most part, especially if it's going to be score driven, you're not going to sit on one side and the other side is just going to build up and then go do one fight. It's probably a lot of back and forth, and because of that, I feel like the variations of builds and the different things that you can do, especially if it's point driven, it's gonna drive down the amount of possibilities that a player is willing to do if they are being competitive and they want to move up, which from an esport look, that's going to get very dull unless they constantly have updates of new units and new playstyles. Chances are the 10-minute thing is going to be something that they're going to push, but I think if there's enough noise, they might have to open that up to 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If you came and told me max is 20 minutes, we probably wouldn't even have this conversation. I'd be like, okay, makes sense. 20 minutes. Even playing StarCraft, I don't really like playing more than 20 minutes in a game, because chances are you already know who's going to win and lose by the by the 15-minute mark. But
I mean,
10 minutes?
They did. I remember specifically back in the day, and so I mean, it would have been David Kim's idea, I'm sure, back then, or he was leading the team at the time. But they did for a time in StarCraft 2 target a 15-minute window when they were balancing. I remember them saying specifically, I can't remember during which expansion, which one it was, or whatever, but they said, we're aiming for the average game now. We're to speed things up and whatnot. We're aiming for like a 15-minute ish average, and because they were we were coming out of at the time where the averages were huge because the metas were all running games like into like 40 fucking minute marathon matches that were just going forever and ever and ever, and so they were trying to like hard correct for that and pull it back. But I agree. If it was longer than 10 minutes, we might not even be having this conversation. What I'm interested in is how many maps can you have and how much influences can the maps even have at a 10-minute point? Well, like what you were talking about with StarCraft, where most games are decided at, usually by 15 minutes, at least who's likely to win. A lot of the variation or what's available to you for shorter games versus longer games is map dependent. Outside of the races, bless you, outside of the races involved, the map is the next biggest variable as to what is likely macro, micro games. Yes. If everything's 10 minutes, how much does the map even fucking affect?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, if at 10 minutes, I would think that there'd be like, 7 to 10 different maps just to create some sort of different strategy for each.
Spice it up.
To spice it up. If it's going to be like League of Legends where you have one map and you're doing the same thing for 10 minutes, bro, it has to be mobile. It has to go to mobile at that point, because I'm going to tell you right now, that game is going to fucking fail if all it is a 10-minute RTS with all these other RTSs coming out. I already personally think, and I don't want to be a dick because I'm still going to cover it and I'm still going to play it, Stormgate, I think Stormgate's going to fail. I think the game is going to die. I think it's going to be almost dead on arrival. I could be fucking wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm rooting for it. But to learn another game, though, when I look at Stormgate, it's daunting to me. Like, I look at it and I go, man, this game just does not look as good as StarCraft for obvious reasons. StarCraft's been out for fucking like 15 years. I get it. But at the same time, if the game doesn't even look as good, and like you said, they showed that game off way too early. Yeah. Months early. Yeah. Way too early. And yes, it looks better than what it looked like when we first saw it, but I can't get that stain out my fucking brain. It just does it ain't doing it for me, bro. But I hope that because to be fair, I haven't played a game since January. I said, no, I'm done. Because I played some games, and it's like, okay, sure. It played okay. I know the game's got a lot of great updates since then, but I'm kind of procrastinating it. The thought of learning a brand new RTS is so time-consuming, and the thought of learning a game that you feel like is just not going to fucking pan out to begin with, it's doubly painful.
You're staring down the barrel of, do I want to learn this RTS when I think that it might not even, like, the community for online competitive might not be around long enough for that to matter.
Yeah.
It makes it harder for you to want to commit.
Yeah, and I think the game's getting released like soon. Like
open beta or released?
I think release. Let me see. Stormgate release date. Yeah. August 13th. So August 13th. Okay, so it's a Steam. Okay, so it's an early release. So early access, August 13th to the public.
Okay.
So August 13th, everybody and their dog is going to be able to play this game.
That seems, based on what I've seen, I don't know if they've got a whole lot of extra in the chamber, but I feel like that's going to be a rough sell unless some major. And in fairness, if there's been new shit, I think somebody said they announced like the next race and everything. I haven't
Yeah, it
seen
is the third faction. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have seen it. The
I never
Celestials, I
saw
think.
it. Yeah, I haven't seen gameplay for it or anything
Dude,
yet.
that looks kind of cool. Like that's probably the race I'm gonna play.
Well, that's
it's
Protoss.
very Protoss. It's Protoss-esque.
Yeah.
But what's cool about it, what I've noticed, and I could be wrong, and somebody can correct me if I am wrong, is that there's no actual supply depots and stuff for this. So you start off with like 0 of 300, and you don't actually have to build any supply depots or pylons. I think it's all energy based. So you need to like you need to get energy, I guess, to have these things. It is Protoss-esque. It does look cool. In this race actually looks different than the other races. Like it kind of stands out, which I like. But it still has that visual where everything
they have a readability problem.
Looks the same.
Yes,
like I mean, you take a look at this race and you look at the base, all the structures look basically the same. All the units look basically the same, but they are different. They look different, but they look the same. It's hard to like look at this game and be like, okay, that's that. Okay, those stand out. It's very. I don't know, man. I don't know about this game. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to be negative.
I think if they can get the readability figured out, that will be huge. Because I do think I do think that, you know, for all of the other parts that you could probably pick at it for, I think the one that will be the, you know, because for an RTS, readability of the battlefield, readability of your units and your enemies' units is kind of almost paramount to almost anything else, other than the UI, perhaps. So like UI and then the readability of units in a strategy game are they trump pretty much everything else. And if you don't have those two things locked up,
you're fucked. You're
fucked. And convincing people to leave, you know, more mature existing RTSs, especially like a StarCraft, which you look very similar to, all the more difficult if you're not nailing that aspect, and they just aren't nailing that aspect. And I don't know if they have talked about the fact that they're aware of the readability being an issue. Like, it's one thing if they know and have acknowledged it and said, we've heard your concerns. We agree. There could definitely be work done to make the readability much better for new players and otherwise, so that, the battlefield is a little bit less of a homogenous look, so that you can more easily tell what's going on. We heard you. We're working on it. We have some ideas, and we're hoping to have more to show you in X amount of time. But I don't think we've heard that. I don't even know if they've acknowledged it. And so if they haven't acknowledged it, and I can't say with certainty if they have or not, but I feel like I would have heard about it from somebody at this point if they did. If they haven't done that and they're not planning to do that, then I think that game is super dead. That has to be fixed. No matter how good everything else might be, people will bounce off of the game for that alone.
I'm sad, man. I'm sad, but we'll see. I mean, maybe I'll end up being happy, but right now, bro, it ain't. It's not looking good, man. It's not. And you know what? The RTS fan in me, I want to cover all of it, bro. I want to
of course.
I want to play and make videos and fucking talk about this and do different strategies because it's nostalgic to me. Like, kind of go through the same thing that I went through with StarCraft. But none of these games, none of them, are giving me any confidence that the investment in time and knowledge is going to be fucking worth it. But I mean, who knows? Maybe we get lucky and one of them, kind of takes off. But we'll see.
I would say of the two, the one that has a higher probability still is Battle Aces, just because of the more broad appeal and the time constraint doesn't work for us, but it's going to work for probably more people in general. And so I can respect the decision to try to get yourself into a much bigger market when you're in a genre that is so difficult to reach a large audience. So I get it.
Bless Artosis and Tasteless, man. These guys.
Oh man.
I mean, these guys have got to sit down and they got to sit down and play all these dog shit looking RTS games and pretend like these things are like the next second coming of Christ and how excited they are. And maybe those gentlemen are excited, but my God, I do not envy their job right now because the two RTS guys, them in day 9, that's gonna get the fucking phone call, and then you've got your standard pro players that they all go to. Everybody's severely underpaid. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they probably can't afford to do anything, and they're probably still using the let's do this for RTS, the passion. Let's just get out there, screw the money, screw the. You know what I mean? Let's just do. It's like, man, I mean, maybe I'm totally wrong and I'm reading it wrong, but my God, I'd be looking at this shit going, guys, fuck. Like,
I know.
What is this?
Tasteless is similarly concerned about Stormgate. I have listened to him talk about Stormgate, so he does have. Now, how much he's expressing it, beyond just his having concerns, I don't know because I haven't watched all of his content on it, but I did watch some. Tasteless is still expressing his concerns for what's going down, but still remaining similar. It's an optimistic situation. It's the early days. People remember StarCraft 2 in its early days wasn't hot shit right out the gate either.
You had Blizzard behind StarCraft 2, and you had like good Blizzard. Like, we're not talking like you had good Blizzard behind StarCraft 2, and off the backs of the gigantic juggernaut hit that is StarCraft Brood War.
Yes, I mean, true.
This is a completely new IP that is quite literally copying off of Warcraft and StarCraft to the point where 90% of the units you could literally call them, and I will when I actually play this game and when we cast it, right? If it gets to that point. And we're going to literally call certain fucking StarCraft units. They're going to be like, oh, there's your stalker. There's the, what's that thing called again, Adam? I call it a zealot. A zealot with a gun. You know what I mean? Like, these are the types of things that are going to happen, man. I mean, I don't know.
I know. Hey, it sounds like we're coming up on being able to see it more in action. And more importantly, see it in action in the hands of the general public and not the people who were clamoring to get in to play it, who wanted to play it. This will be like the real proper test for them, where it will be community feedback on a much grander scale, and it will be a lot more harsh than likely what they would have been getting internally up to this point. And maybe they need that. Maybe they need the splash of cold water. Here comes the Steam reviews. Just, coming after their life. Maybe they need that, but we'll see. It sounds like August 13th, you said, for at least Stormgate. And I also think that Battle Aces has got like a beta status and stuff coming up in the not too distant future, if I'm not mistaken.
Weeks, I think. Yeah,
so
I'll check it out.
Both of them. We'll have more soon. Other than that, that's all we had for gaming news this week, which means, Mr. Black, it's time to sell out for a little bit.
Patreon.com/LagTV. Head on over there and throw some money at the screen. Or just hit that follow button. I know some of you guys have sent in some super chats on the YouTube, so thank you. The subs here on Twitch, we appreciate it. Any type of support goes a long way. Or you can support our sponsor, NordVPN. If you guys don't already have a subscription to NordVPN, go check them out. There's actually a new product that they have. So, for example, when you get a 2-year subscription, you're not only going to continue to get those 4 extra months kind of tacked into there, bringing your average monthly price down to less than a cup of coffee or half a cup of coffee at Starbucks a month. Plus, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't like it for whatever reason, get your money back within 30 days. But they also now have a new product here, and this is my first time actually plugging it, so I'm gonna have to read some notes so I don't screw it up.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's called Saily, which is their new let me get this up. I'm gonna get this up. So all right. So for example, have you ever been lost abroad or badly needed an internet connection with no Wi-Fi spot in sight? You'll understand what the difference of a local SIM card can make. That's right. You can go ahead and get yourself an eSIM card through NordVPN. And when you get your 2-year subscription, they're going to be throwing in 20 gigabytes of Saley data voucher, which comes with your 2-year subscription, right? So you only need to download once. The eSIM card works on both Android and iOS, all right? Makes you so you save time. You don't have to wait in lines at airports to get a local SIM card. You can do it all right there through the NordVPN product. You can avoid scams, minimize roaming fees, stay connected. It's compatible, like I said, with iOS and Android, and 24/7 support and full refund. So get a full refund if your device isn't eSIM compatible. So if you're like, hey, my device ain't eSIM compatible, you can get a full refund as well. So go check them out. NordVPN.com/OTT. And they'll have some more information over there as well. So you're just getting a little extra on top. Or if you just want to go and check out their eSIMs, you can do that on the site as well. So, it's expected to go until the first week of August. So you have at least up until that. But yeah, if that changes, I'll let you guys know. But there's a little something extra for all you fine folks there. And eventually, I'll have all of this memorized so that I can play around with it and make it different every time for you, just slightly. But I just wanted to give you guys the right information. All right, yes. So go check them out. All right, and go support our sponsor. Link will be in the description below.
Fantastic.
That's it.
That's a really common thing in Southeast Asia and other countries, like the eSIMs and pay-as-you-goes and whatnot, like super common, super cheap. When we were in the Philippines, it's what you walk in the airport, they're sitting right there. You just go over, you get your number, boom, you're done, and you pay like very little, and you're off to the fucking races. Data included, the whole 9 yards. And so
you're getting 20 gigs of 20 gig voucher when you get your 2-year subscription. And go check them out. It's called Saley. So NordVPN X Saley. It's an eSIM. Use it on your phone when you're traveling. Boom, bada bang. You don't need to go and buy one of those throwaway phones and whatnot. It's all done right there digitally. Get after it.
All right. Apropos of absolutely nothing.
What?
There's no way. Oh, no, never mind. I thought there was a big basketball announcement. I just lost my mind. Never mind. It's okay. Crisis averted. Okay. It was a scam. Okay. I got scammed. Anyway, movies and TV. I don't have anything.
Neither do I.
Is there anything? Nothing.
I haven't even started House of Dragons yet. I'm waiting for a couple episodes to be out so we can, kind of dig into it a little bit.
Fair ball.
Yeah, so I think we'll this weekend we'll watch the first 2 episodes. But outside of that, we haven't really been watching much of anything.
Did you finish Fallout yet, or are you still trying to get through the last?
We have 1 episode left. One episode. So, yeah. The next time I'm on the podcast, I'll have my final thoughts. But I don't think my final thoughts are going to change. I just think it's a solid 7.5, pushing an 8 in terms of like what the show is. I just don't really get all that excited to watch it. I'm not on the edge of my seat. I just kind of, it's not bad. It's not blowing my fucking my load off or anything like that. It's just solid. It's okay. It's
I think it's a good foundation to do a season 2 off of. Like Game of Thrones first season was neither here nor there, but it laid the foundation for arguably the best seasons in the series, which was like seasons 2, 3, and 4 for me. I think are the best seasons out of all the Game of Thrones seasons. And I think you're right. I would give it a 7.5 to an 8, somewhere in there. Maybe I even rated it higher originally, but either way, it's in that neck of the woods. I think is fair. And when you see the end, we'll see what your thoughts are as well for coming seasons. But I think they do a good job of laying that out, and then maybe the bait in terms of the story coming in for the next season will be stronger than this one, because in this one there was a lot of just character work.
It's like world building a little bit. Exactly. Yeah. Just kind of getting to know the feel and vibe of the show, and it's only 8 episodes, right? So it's not like you got a whole lot of time.
Yeah. Exactly.
But outside of that,
it's nothing. It's dead. I'm just waiting for Interstellar back in the theaters. That's all I give a fuck about. Give me that back in IMAX.
Yeah. We finished watching Perfect Match.
How did that end?
It's just another fucking season of. Well, the last episode comes out on the 20th. I think tomorrow. So the finale is actually tomorrow, but I kind of already know where it's going. But it's okay. That's it.
Good enough.
Yeah, good enough.
Yeah, we haven't really caught much over here either. Haven't been watching nothing new anyway. We've been watching mostly just whatever we're watching tends to be kind of whatever we can pull up on Netflix. And so with that means we get to move on to
tech support.
Patreon.com/LikeTV, as Mr. Black was saying not very long ago, because typically there'd be a whole section in between, but Patreon.com/LikeTV if you want to financially support the podcast. $5 or more a month, you get a couple perks. Chiefly, you can ask us some questions on a post I put up before the podcast called Tech Support, and we give you the answers in the time that we have. God, it's getting hotter and hotter in here because I have the AC off. It's just on fan mode. Dude, it is 35 outside without humidity.
It's hot.
I don't know what it is with, but it's up there.
It's hot.
It is hot degrees outside. Let's see. Roran asks, what do you guys think some of the most thankless jobs are in any field? Man, I mean, let's keep it a buck. Any janitorial service is immediately on that list. Anyone that has to work in a sewer is immediately on that list.
Garbage men?
Yeah, any sanitation related thing.
Yeah.
Like they're the perfect example of out of sight, out of mind. But if they weren't there, it would take less than 2 weeks and society would fucking fold in on itself. It'd be like, can you imagine without garbage collection, how fast shit
fucked.
would literally just be fucked?
Yeah,
it would be
so
a nightmare.
Yep.
So I would say that's numero uno, for sure. Man.
I think those are the best ones. I mean, that's that. I don't think you're getting
housekeeping is another one. Probably housekeeping doesn't get a lot because they don't even see the customer most of the time. Like people will leave a tip sometimes with the assumption that housekeeping will be through and they'll get. But
I think also, but I think with housekeeping, you can at least. I feel like most people, when they pay for housekeeping and they come home, they appreciate coming home to a clean house. And so they keep getting the service. So I think in some ways there is some thanks there. But when I think of the question, I think of like, you don't even fucking think about it. Oh, the garbage man showed up. It's not like, oh, thank God they came and picked up that garbage today. It's just something you don't even really think of, right? You see a garbage man, you don't say, hey man, thanks for picking that up for me, man. I appreciate that. Like those are like the thankless jobs. Like I'm not sure how many people see a garbage man and go, thank you, sir.
Janitors janitors in schools and janitors in hospitals.
Yeah.
Dude, can you imagine being a janitorial service during COVID in a hospital?
That's literally what Kayla's dad does. He's an ER. He's an ER cleaner. He goes in there and he cleans
after
he literally cleans like fucking guts and like chunks of shit.
Of everything. Yeah.
Off of fucking everything, bro. Disgusting.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Probably not paid enough, if I'm going to be honest.
Fuck no. Hell no. Sure as shit they don't. Fucking lives in a co-op.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine?
They ain't getting paid nearly enough, bro.
sometimes, like, and imagine, like, like conceptually, there's like danger pay for things for certain jobs, right? Like this danger pay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to imagine doing janitorial servicing at certain wards or certain areas of a hospital has got to come with some danger. Like it's gotta. You can't convince me otherwise. Like especially if you're like a special. I suppose like if you're a specialized cleaner. So let's say that the patient had to be put in isolation because of the what's it called? Oh shit. It's literally shit. There's more or less, but it's what you get when you've had too many antibiotics, and it allows the body. Everyone has this in them, but it allows it to flourish to a point where, oh my God, what is the name of it? It's D something. Not diarrhea. No, Jesus Christ. Not what do you? No, nobody needs to be quarantined for fucking diarrhea. Although they will, although coincidentally they will have it. They will have diarrhea if they have this.
These nuts.
What is it? God, this is going to drive me absolutely.
Somebody in the comments will say it. So
how is nobody in chat even help me out on this shit? This is going to drive me out. I wish M was home because I'd have the answer to that immediately. Anyway, it's when you C diff, I think is it. C diff is the short form for it. C diff. I'm pretty sure that's it. So. And it tends to it allows it to flourish when you've had too many antibiotics. So let's say you have like anything that requires really strong doses of antibiotics, and now it's allowed this to flourish within your body. It is insanely infectious, like beyond infectious, and will spread through the whole hospital in like days. And so they have to put you in basically like a fucking quarantine bubble room until they get that out of you and sorted. So, like, specialty, people that have to deal with that shit would probably be paid more than average. But just in general, yeah, people not getting paid enough for that. Like, come on, that's crazy. Like, there's danger pay, but like, and people say the justification is probably there's no skill involved. I would say that anytime I hear somebody say there's no skill involved in a job, I want them to go do that job that day.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't require any skills.
Yeah, I mean,
they should be able to do it.
Listen, I think obviously there's skills involved in any profession. I mean, whether you're a janitor or you're a whatever, there's always skills, right? I think the thing that we're looking at here is like, your economic value that you bring to the workforce. But the argument that I would make too is like, okay, yeah, you may not have to be the most technically skillful person to clean up garbage. But at the same time, if there is very few people that want to do that job, then
you need to pay for it.
Then you need to pay people exceptionally well or very well so that it entices people to want to do the shit job that doesn't require much skill, but requires you to just mentally deal with the literal shit that you have to deal with. Because if you're going to get paid $20 an hour or let's say even $25 an hour to pick up garbage, or you could go and work at a restaurant and make $25 an hour via, tips and your salary, or $25 an hour doing construction, most people are probably going to pick the latter, opposed to going in and literally scrubbing shit or picking up garbage. It just doesn't, no. So I just think that shit is just, those are the jobs that are like super unthanked Like they're not appreciated the way that they should be. And if people aren't appreciating them, I mean, at the very bare minimal, they should be getting paid very well to do that shit. If you told me that garbage men make $40, $50 an hour, I'd be like, yeah, they fucking should.
Yes.
They should. That's a shit job.
Have you seen how some people put their garbage out? Do you see what people put in that shit that they're not supposed to?
Dude,
I'd be wearing
36
Kevlar
degrees
gloves.
outside, dealing with stanky ass fucking garbage. You're dealing with fucking fucking cockroaches, maggots, crows, raccoons, bears ripping the shit of the shit flying all over the streets, fucking garbage juices.
Thank you.
No, bro, I'm good.
I'm good.
I don't even like put. Adam, I have a hard time opening up our own green bin to put in old food that we didn't eat. I'm like fucking gross. Don't let this shit touch me. These motherfuckers are swimming in garbage, man. Literal.
It's so true.
Fuck that, bro.
It's so true.
Fuck that. Somebody could come to my door and be like, "Yo, we are desperate need of garbage people. We're gonna pay you $60 an hour, 40 hours a week." I'm gonna say, "Fuck you." No, I'm not doing it. I ain't got that in me anyway. I'm too bitch made. I ain't got that in me. I ain't got that in me.
This is how I frame it, especially these days where we have such like a housing issue and stuff in general. And I think, especially for somebody like Kayla's dad, for example, we can use him as an example here. Do I think that the person that's working more, I'm assuming he's probably working full-time hours as well at this job.
Well, he's not anymore. He's not anymore
because he's his health.
He's getting older and his health.
In his time, he was working full-time hours. Anyone that's working that job where you're cleaning a fucking emergency room or cleaning up in a hospital like that full-time hours, you should not be on government assistance. You should be able to rent any one bedroom that should be like the floor. There's no universe in which somebody that does that kind of work should still have to go, because they're ironically working for the government in a hospital. Like they're already like, the irony is thick, and then still need government assistance to be able to have just a single 600 square foot, one bedroom apartment seems insane to me, like beyond insane. So like, you know, when I advocate for people getting paid more money, I'm not saying that, you know, they should be getting paid the same as, you know, as Marcel in like a psych ward fighting literally like meth head friggin' psychopaths. But they should probably not have to have government assistance.
They shouldn't be living in damn near poverty, bro. Let's just say what it is.
Yes.
They just shouldn't. I mean, to be fair, I don't think anybody should have to live that way. But
if you're working full-time hours in general, poverty should probably not be
on the list.
Tabled. That seems like
but
the floor that we should shoot for.
Welcome to Canada. Oh, Canada.
Same in the States right now too, to a degree. It's very similar there too. I mean, because they don't like most states down there, their minimum wage hasn't changed since we've been fucking breathing, bro. Their ass is still getting paid the same dollar amount since we left our mom.
But our country, bro, the amount of homeless encampments and shit now that's in our country over these last several years,
it's definitely skyrocketed.
Absolutely insane.
Oh yeah, it's gotten crazy. It has. And God bless him today.
Did I say Jesus fuck Christ. Trudeau yet today? Man, fuck that guy, bro.
Yeah, fuck him.
I haven't said that yet today. I said I did several times last night.
Or similar earlier today, I actually did to a degree.
Yeah, I said
I've already.
Night. Yeah, just fuck that guy, bro. Fuck that guy hard, man. Fuck him.
Speaking of fucking, Marry Fuck Kill Gaming Features Edition, live service, microtransactions, DLC.
Okay.
Okay, I got this. I'm marrying DLC. That seems out of this three, of live service, microtransactions, DLC. DLC at least in, like, for example, Shadow of the Erd Tree is DLC. That's 80 hours of fucking Elden Ring content fucking into my veins for less than the full price of a game. I'm on board with that. So I'll marry DLC. Okay. I will. Whew. These other two though, that's tough. I will fuck microtransactions and kill live service.
Wow. Here's why. Okay, I gotta hear it.
So microtransactions, the problem with live service and microtransactions, and really DLC, is all of these can be a wide range of like really egregious and fucking like predatory, and then perfectly reasonable, and it's just kind of whatever, right? So between live service and microtransactions, which are usually a product of live service to begin with, if they're cosmetic, fucking go nuts. If you want to spend $500 on an Ari skin in League of Legends, that's a little weird, but you do you. Because it's not affecting the game other than how your character looks. So if you want to do that shit, all the power to you. There are lots of versions of microtransactions, obviously, that are very predatory. But in general, microtransactions are fine by me if they are, you know, a cosmetic or something that's similar to that. That's fine. Live service is almost never okay with me, because it allows for games, it gives games a further excuse to do the minimum viable product model, where the game comes out barely fucking running, usually crammed full of predatory microtransactions to pump itself full of income, to then eventually in 2 years become a game actually worth playing. And then if there's still a base of people playing the game, continue on for as long as humanly possible. And some of the problems that we're getting, and it's not necessarily problems of the games themselves, but the nature of what these live service models do, is that there are games that are staying around forever. And they're huge. And it's casting a shadow across the rest of the industry, where there's less money going around to games that aren't just live service. And everyone is chasing the fucking Fortnite dragon. You know, like we talked about before, there's like 20 games. They're all pretty much live service or live service like, that take up 60+% of all gameplay time in the market. 20 games. That's fucking insane. Many of those games have been around for almost a decade now. And they're not going anywhere. The Fortnite's not going anywhere anytime soon. League of Legends is declining, but like declining for League of Legends is like, what does that even mean? Yeah. Right? Call of Duty is not one singular game, but with Warzone, it's carried between a bunch, and they release a fucking Call of Duty per year, so it might just as well be, and they treat it like a live service every fucking time. And then like GTA 5. That's more or less post-launch. GTA 5 online became live service beyond belief, and then crammed full of microtransactions and everything else, and making Rockstar filthy, dirty, disgusting amounts of money. So that's my thought process behind that. Okay. Is that, you know, so what do you think?
I'm different.
Okay.
I'm very different.
You're assembled uniquely. So what is your choices?
Okay. I am. So it's marry, fucking kill, right?
Yes.
All right.
DLC, so microtransactions, live service.
I am fucking microtransactions.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we agree on the microtransactions part.
Oh, yeah, I'm fucking microtransactions, and here's the reason why I'm fucking microtransactions.
All right, okay.
It's because not all microtransactions are bad, right?
Yes, exactly.
And typically, a microtransaction is a hit and quit, right?
Yes.
So we fucking, right? We having a one-night stand. Oh, and then I'm dipping. So, for example, there's this skin I really want. Getting inside it, fucking, that's it. I don't have to pay for it again. That's the show. Okay?
You're dipping, and then you're dipping.
Yes. A new skin any skin. I'm playing a racing game. Maybe that there's a car that I really want to get. Maybe it's $1.99, $4.99, $9.99. I'm fucking it. And that's it. There might be all kinds of other shit on the menu, but I only want you tonight. I got my eye on you, so I'm fucking that microtransaction. All right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's my reasoning there. Who am I marrying? I'm marrying live service. And I am killing DLC. Here's why.
All right, give me the details.
The reason why I'm killing DLC is because I'm old school. I believe that a game should be made, and that's the show. Now, there is the argument that there are games update all the time. We call that live service. Okay? There's a difference between DLC and just a live service. Okay? Sometimes they're kind of the same in some ways.
All three of these tend to happen inside of
yes, in this ecosystem. There's usually, but listen, microtransactions I believe need to exist, and I think that they should exist. Not only from a money-making perspective, because without microtransactions, live service doesn't work. It just doesn't. Not saying that the live service can't exist, but for it to be successful and have lags and continuously have those updates, they need to make money.
It's true.
Right? And so
preferably billions.
Preferably billions, right? So if you were to kill microtransactions, you are in turn killing most live service games. True. They're just going to die. They're not going to have a shelf life. So I would prefer to kill DLC, not because I hate DLC, but I just don't like it all that much. And the reason why I don't like it is because most of the time, DLC is a way for companies or these publishers or these game devs to make a game that is incomplete or that is complete, but they know that it's not really complete without the DLC. So, hey, we've got this great idea. We would normally put this whole idea into a game and release it, but instead, we're going to put this game out, and then we're going to put a chunk of said game in a DLC, which is typically more than a microtransaction. DLCs are basically either another full game, like you said earlier in the podcast about Elden Ring being potentially 60, 80 hours, but you're going to spend more money. It isn't a $9.99 DLC, right? It isn't a $1.99 or 99 cents or whatever. You're looking at, I don't know what the DLC is for Elden Ring, but my guess is it's probably not full price, but it's probably ain't too far off. It's probably $49.99 or something crazy, right?
I can't remember what it is now. It's like $30 maybe, or somewhere in that neck of the woods.
$29.99, $39.99. You know, it's virtually like buying an indie game, right? Like a good indie game, not like a cheap indie game. And so the majority, I feel like if you removed DLC from gaming, I believe in my heart, and I think that there's evidence to this, that you will get better games. Because the games will be fully fledged out and flushed out and made from start to finish. As in, they don't have this, well, we got this great idea. It's going to be kind of expensive to do. It's a pretty long part. Maybe we'll just do a DLC, and then, you know, when the game comes out, then we can get people to go back and play this, and then maybe this looks exciting, so that might actually entice people to go and actually buy the original game that they didn't buy in the first place, and we can hook them. So DLC for me is and has been a negative on the gaming industry as a whole. I know it's kind of a hot take, but I believe that they use DLC as a crutch to make a lesser version of the original game. And if the lesser version of the original game does well enough, then they have the ability to make DLC. And we've known this in the past, whether it was Mass Effect or other games, where they actually have already made the DLC and they just decided to not put it in the game, knowing damn well that you will end up buying this for another ridiculous price, which in turn turns a $79.99 game into a $119.99 game, and they do this shit purposely. So I'm fucking taking a gun, I'm going to the back of the barn, and I'm shooting DLC in the back of the head, and I'm double tapping it to make sure it's dead. Now, microtransactions, I think any gamer at any time, because it's not necessary. Hey, I feel like I'm going to be celibate. I'm not fucking any microtransactions. I'm in a long-term committed relationship with my live service. And you know what? I'm happy with what they give me. I'm happily married. Okay. But you know what? Sometimes, hey, I get the urge to step out. Okay. Hey, no, that's bad. Stepping out of the marriage, don't do it. But if you do, you better make it a one-night stand. Microtransaction, all right? Now, the marriage, we got to marry live service. And here's the reason why.
Okay.
Marriage is all about being together forever, till death do us part. You know what death do us part means? It means we're in this together until one of us dies. Right? World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
RuneScape. Call of Duty. League of Legends. StarCraft. PUBG. CSGO. The list goes on and on and on. Overwatch, Valorant. I can keep going. Destiny. Keep going. Halo. Keep going. Hey, we in a relationship. Let's be real here. Any game that anybody ever plays for a considerable period of time is usually a live service. And most competitive gamers, Fortnite, any of these things, they latch on to one game and they play that game. And that game gets updated. And you keep playing that game until that game dies. Or you fall out of love and get divorced. Maybe you fuck too many microtransactions and your marriage isn't working anymore and therapy isn't there, and now you got to go. So live service, Adam, as much as I love a good old single player solo game that doesn't need to be connected to the damn internet with no DLC, no microtransactions, none of that bullshit, just a regular ass Nintendo game that you buy from the store, you put in, you play, you see the credits, you end. That's the show. In a perfect world, Adam, that's the life we would be in. But it's not a perfect world. So if you got to marry somebody, you better marry somebody that's going to hold your attention and keep you engaged until one of yous die. That's live service. DLC's got to go because live service can hold me off. And if I feel like a little bit of an extra added, I got that microtransaction and we can fuck.
The side piece.
The side piece.
I listen. I dig it. I see the vision.
You see it?
I can agree. I see the vision.
All right.
I see the vision.
All right.
Zonix asks, "What's the longest you've ever gone without sleeping?"
Probably like a day and a half. Like 35, 36 hours.
Yeah, about that. The longest for me was when we went to Anaheim. I didn't sleep the night before we got on the plane. So it was all-nighter. Because we had a pretty early flight in the morning anyway. And I was all wired because I'm used to going to bed late and I couldn't fucking sleep. So I was just awake the whole night. And didn't sleep on the planes or anything like that. We had like 2 layovers minimum between here and Anaheim because we were cheaping out on our flights. And then when we got there, it was the first day was pretty much nonstop when we hit the ground. Convention center, basically first day, the whole 9 yards. There was no, like at that time, that was like our first real major event.
Yeah.
And we didn't do the lead time of a single day to get yourself acclimated. We just showed up on the scene.
Yep. What's
event
up?
Starting.
We're here.
And then we never stopped. And then after the event day was over, we immediately went out to restaurants. Then we went to then we picked up a bunch of liquor, and then everyone was fucking 3 sheets to the wind, bumping. And I don't think I ended up falling. I bounced early because I felt like I was dying because I hadn't slept in so long. And so I went back to the room, and that was after what was his name? Oh shit. What was his handle? Fucking hell, what was his handle? He was he's younger guy, skinny kid, jumping on the bed. He had way too much to fucking drink. And he left. And he ran down the because it was like a C-shaped like motel that we were staying in, and 2-story with like the walkway, and he ran past or got right to our door and just projectiled all over in front of our door. And I'm like in the room, feeling like I'm dying. I'm just about to fall asleep. I'm still hearing all the noise and shit, and then I just hear him just heave-hoeing right outside the door, and I was like, oh my god, can I just fucking sleep, please? So yeah, it was like 36 hours or something in that neck of the woods, and that was the time. Yeah. Was that?
Yeah, I'm about the same.
Sustained.
Yeah, and all of mine is travel based as well. So just traveling, can't sleep, fucking yeah.
Yano asks, which internet trend do you like or hate the most? Van life, meat only diet, Stanley Cup jugs. The Stanley Cup like cups. That was like white hot popular, and then immediately died after people were like, oh, if you dent this thing, lead seeps into your liquid. Maybe don't use those. Those Stanley like thermos mugs. They got that. Yeah. Yeah.
What do I hate the most?
Like trends that you like or hate the most.
Oh, I mean, I don't really hate any of those trends or like any of those trends.
Hate is a strong word. There's some that kind of like drive me nuts, that there's a lot of people that subscribe to them because it's internet and people will just fucking listen to whatever they fucking hear. It's crazy how quick people will just like watch something on Instagram or TikTok or some shit, and then off the races they go. Like with just reckless abandon. I mean, I think the one that drives me the craziest because of how predatory it is, but then also like what it kind of means for North American society in general, that it's even successful at all, is the alpha male shit, or the alpha sigma male, like selling a course online pipeline that seems to have been a thing now for like 3 years or more, where it's a bunch of dudes that have had like no father figure in life, and they're just told that the only emotion they're allowed to feel is like fucking anger, and then when they get angry, everyone gets angry at them for being angry, and so the only thing that's left to do is go online and have fucking Andrew Tate or fucking Jordan fucking goddamn Peterson become their father. Like those are your options, like the dichotomy of Jordan Peterson and fucking like Andrew Tate online, and you're like, how the fuck? How did we get here? Jesus Christ. Like, that's the best we have to offer up to all these guys lost online.
I mean, you know how we got here. I mean, we can go down that road, yes, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, listen, Adam, I agree with what you're saying, by the way, just so that you know. I actually just unfollowed Andrew Tate on all social media like 2 days ago. This shit that this motherfucker says, I can't even see it on my feed anymore. I'm like, fuck. I mean, and the thing is like some of the shit that he says, like I truly believe in, but like, I mean, this dude takes to extreme.
Well, that's because he takes like 90%, bullshit with 10% truth, so you latch on to the 10%.
I get it. Yeah. Trust me, I fucking get it. But I mean, in my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. Yeah. The reason why these things exist is because you have the same shit on the opposite side. Hey man, be a bitch. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like don't you know what I mean? And I don't want to get too fucking, because I already know.
fucking weirdos on. I don't even want to. Go fuck off, dude.
There are three people that watch this podcast.
I understand. Well, Adam, I understand, but I don't even like getting into a debate, even if it is with like 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, no, I get you. I understand.
But it's I see.
There are dozens of us.
There are dozens of us. Yeah. I see why. I get why those things. I shouldn't even say why they exist, because I agree it's insane. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, oorah. You know what I mean? Like, fucking be a man, and you can't cry, and you can't do. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. The literal toxic masculinity, right? Which is a term that gets thrown around I think a bit too much. But that shit is actually that. It's fucking awful.
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, the reason why that is popular and exists is because the opposite is constantly being shoved down your throat. And it's just like the moment you even take pride in being a man and having values and strong beliefs, it's almost a negative. It's almost like, oh, you're this. They put a label on you. You're that. It's like, no, and then I think it becomes driven so much that these characters of people, these extreme ideologies, these young men, they latch onto that because it's their way to rebel from the pure fucking garbage. And I mean, I could really go in and
I mean, if anyone latches onto either of those two people in that way, because there are people that consume their shit either because they find entertainment value in it, or they're just somebody that they might not agree with them, but they're still interested to hear somebody else's, no matter how insane they might feel, they might listen to it. There are people that are in that, or like they hate watch. But if you're actually if they're latching onto them in that way, where they're actually deriving like a father figure out of them, it's because they just outright lack a father figure in real life.
Yeah, they don't have a man in their life.
And in current era, especially if you're chronically online, which lots of people are these days, no doubt, especially a lot of young men, then they get into a situation whereby they feel like they're getting a lot, like you're saying, it's mixed messages. And since they don't have a father figure at home to be able to filter the mixed message and give them what they need or what they're looking for, then they become like everything on the internet. It's extremes. There is no very few. It's hard to find the level-headed. So you get the extreme, you get the Andrew, you get the Jordan, and then somebody as soon as either one of them says something that resonates with them.
I wouldn't put Jordan and Andrew in the same category, but but
in terms of like, I mean, both. I mean, I wouldn't. They're not the same category, but Jordan says some pretty fucking insane shit too. Like Jordan says less insane shit than Andrew, and certainly less incriminating shit than Andrew does. But Jordan still says some pretty fucking bad shit stuff. For whatever it is. That being said, still, it's for the same reason. Like the reason why they would latch onto them is for the same reason, and that's kind of a really unfortunate thing is that at a societal level, and women put up with similar stuff on their ends, they get mixed signals too. It's just that the internet then magnifies all of that, blows it way out of fucking proportion, and then you get funneled into, one of like a handful of these extreme categories, and you get, and it just makes everything worse. It's just ass. It drives me fucking nuts. And then what makes me sick is that those people then monetize it. Because those people know who is watching them, who is buying their fucking weird ass 47, a page long PDFs on, how to fucking do whatever the fuck.
Your ancestral tenets.
Yeah. How can you buy fake abs and eat raw liver? It drives me nuts because they know. Those people know. And so that's the shittiest part, is that they're monetizing the pain of some young guy out there who doesn't have a father figure and is desperately searching for something. And instead of actually giving them something of substance, they do that instead because they can make money off of it, and that's the shittiest. That's the shittiest part. So that's the part that drives me fucking nuts. I understand all the mechanics behind it. It's just that's the shittiest part about it, and why I hate it so much is that there's the monetization factor behind it.
I hate both sides because you know the extreme on the other end.
Oh, not extreme on either side is bad. I mean, there's nothing in the extreme that's good.
Yeah. They also make money off it. They also prey upon people that are lost and don't have a direction or a group or whatever. I mean, it's just the world we live in. It's social media, but I fully agree. That shit is, they ain't getting any of my money. But I mean, I'm much more. I think I'm not an angry, angstish teenager or a young male that is desperately looking for some sort of father figure or role model in my life, and I'm getting it via that fucking dude that's jacked out of his fucking tits and he wears super tight fucking shorts. I don't even know what his name is, but he's like juiced on all the on everything, and he's like, get out there and fucking work hard, pussies. You know what I mean? Like, that shit is that's whatever. But I can still listen to Andrew Tate. I can still listen to Jordan Peterson and actually get something out of it because I can read behind, there are.
Well, you're not vulnerable to the bullshit. That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. But then I also, at the same time, I can listen to Andrew Tate or Jordan Peterson, since you brought those two up, and I roll my eyes and I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, come on, bro. Like I get it, bro.
There's lots of eye rolling to be done.
Oh, there's this. Yeah, I mean, it's 70% eye roll and then 30%. Okay, I mean, I see where you're going, but like, why do you have to take it like there? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Because there is where the money is.
I know that's the shock value is where the money is where the clicks come from and the fucking headlines. I get it, bro. I get it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So I would say that's it. I mean, it's funny that he brings up the meat diet too, because that shit's fucking crazy to me. And ironically, like Jordan Peterson again comes into the picture because he's on the meat diet with his daughter.
Yeah.
But that's like more of a diet thing on the internet in general. Is like anything like fad diets when we were growing up came and went too. They were in bookstores instead, or they were being sold on like, advertisements on TV. Like fad diets and shit have always been around. Like this, like the carb free, like the Atkins diet was a big one.
Oh yeah.
Shit like that's always been around. And the internet, like anything, has just magnified it, and now it's like a new one every fucking like 3 months. There's a new diet, and it's just crazy. And the problem is, again, like it's always the extremes. Even if there is some benefit to any of these diets, is that they're not lifestyles. They're supposed to be diets. And if you talk to a doctor, they might say, okay, you've got some like your situation, for example, where you were on an elimination diet to try and figure out what was going on. The most extreme version of an elimination diet is, in fact, a meat diet. And so they'll just put you on red meat, and then you painfully slowly start adding stuff back in until you start finding triggers. And in some instances, when you have sensitivities, they'll put you on a meat diet for X amount of time, and then your body does have a soft reset, and you can start to incorporate these things again. They even do this not with a meat diet, but they even do this kind of you call it a dieting therapy with toddlers when they have allergies. They'll tell you to go cold turkey. Don't even fucking let them smell that shit. And then after a certain period of time, they will then say, okay, you can give them like walk a peanut past the fucking plate. And then it's like one crumb of peanut. And then the body starts to build what it's supposed to out of that. But then people will hear like people talk about the meat only diet, and they're like, I'm going to do that for like 5 straight years and see what happens.
No.
Don't.
It's going to be a bad time.
It's going
to be a bad time.
Don't do that. No doctor's going to tell you to do that shit. Blainer said, I had a weird dream recently where I was at Jeff's house with his family, and Adam was there wearing the same pajamas that my baby wears. Well, that's fucked up. How did I get the short end of that stick? What the fuck is going on there? What weird dreams do you remember?
Oh, bro. I mean,
you used to have so many Dragon Ball Z dreams when you were a kid,
dude. I have so many fucking crazy dreams.
Well, you had night terrors when you were a kid, too.
I had night terrors.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some weird ass fucking dreams, man. I've had some weird ass dreams. I remember I had one of the weirdest dreams I've had. It was when I was younger too. I think I was like a kid. But I remember I had this dream where I was still in my mom, and I was in the fucking.
So you're Terrence Howard.
I was like a fucking. Yeah, bro. I was like a fucking fetus. You know. I'm just chilling there, and I'm like,
this is the Terrence Howard lore. Did you see his podcast with Joe Rogan? Oh, you don't get the joke. Oh shit, that's so unfortunate. Okay, sorry. You should watch that podcast.
All right, I'll check it out.
He talks about how he remembers being in his mom's womb, and then naming one of his hands before he knew it was a hand. And then he goes on to explain how 1 + 1 does not equal 2 and a bunch of crazy. Bro, you've got to watch that book. That man is cooked out of his tree. But anyway, continue.
But I did. I had this dream where I was like, I was inside. I was
That's
fucking
crazy.
forming, and I don't know. Like I remember like the fucking the thing, and then as I was being birthed, as I was coming out. As I'm literally coming out of my fucking mom's vagina, which, by the way, my mom had a C-section, so like I wouldn't even.
This doesn't even make sense.
Sure, yeah, it doesn't even make sense. But as I'm literally coming out, I can see like the hospital, and then I wake up from the dream. But like, there's more to it than that. It was like it's kind of hard to explain. It was so many years ago. I was a kid. I was probably 10 or 11 years old. It was before I even met you.
That's
and I remember
wild.
that dream always just kind of fucking stuck with me throughout my whole life. Like I'll just randomly think about like how fucking weird that dream was. And I could go on and on about dreams. I mean, fuck, man, the amount of night terrors I've had and fucking weird shit, like growing up, sleepwalking, just weird ass shit. But that's one of the weird ones that just comes to my mind.
I rarely have like really weird dreams in that kind of sense, but I'm more of a guy that will have recurring dreams, or I'll have dreams that happen in a recurring location, even if that location is just made up bullshit. So recently, in the last several weeks, and I don't dream often, but when I do start dreaming, it's if I'm dreaming, it typically means that I'm not sleeping well. Like I'm not getting a deep fucking sleep or some shit. I don't know. I associate with that anyway. So I've been having a lot of dreams recently, and they've all been happening in the same location. And that location is like an amalgamation, a combination of our junior high, our high school, and a building / mall. All in one that doesn't, like the mall building doesn't actually exist. That one's fabricated, and then it's plugging in zones of like our junior high and high school to make up a building. And it's funny because I've had multiple dreams, and all the dreams are different. Like what's happening in them are different, but the location is the same. This weird amalgamation of locations. So weird like dreams that are weird for me are what my brain will come up with for locational pieces. It's not common for me to dream of people that I don't know about. That's pretty rare. It's almost always people that I know or have at least seen in person at some point. It's pretty rare for my brain to make shit up in that regard for people, but for places, it's always, that's the weird thing for me. And my dreams are frequently those where you're changing location a lot. Like a scene will happen, and then it's supposed to be the continuation of a theme, but the location's just fucking wildly different out of nowhere. And so, but recently it's been like a combination of junior high school, and then like a fucking mall that doesn't exist. And it's been a whole range of storylines and shit that just don't even make any fucking sense. But I don't have dreams like that where like I'm dreaming about still being in my mother's womb. I haven't had one of those yet. I think I'm thankful for that, at least for now.
Yeah.
I do remember though, like when I was really young, probably 13, in that neck of the woods. I had a dream where I was shot in the arm, And when I woke up, I was sore as hell right where I got shot in the dream. It was right in that my delt area.
Yeah, a lot of the times when that happens, I find I like hit myself. Or
I'm just imagining myself in my sleep, like.
Well, I think sometimes. Like, well, I think sometimes it's say for example, like say I'm at the gym, and you know, I accidentally bump into into a bench, and the bar is there, and you know, like, you know, you get hit and you bruise, and you're like, fuck, man, you almost didn't feel it when it happened, and I find that's been happening more as I get older. Like,
oh really?
Like shit happens, and I'm like, I don't really feel it, and then like I'm bruised. I'm like, fuck, what the fuck did I do? And then I'm like, oh wait, I did hit something at the gym. I just didn't really. And I find it didn't register. But then I find, like, when I go to sleep, if that thing is hurting and I move around in my sleep, like I kind of like turn and stuff, I feel like sometimes pressure will get put on that thing, and it's like a pain point. And then I dream about how that pain point got generates there. Something that you know what I mean? Like that happens to me sometimes too. It's rare, but you know, that has happened to me where I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, fuck, man, my leg is sore, and in my dream, you know, I fucking fell down or something. I get hit by a car or some shit happened, but no, I'm like actually bruised down there, and something happened. So I don't know.
I don't even know if I should ask this question, but it is so fucking random that I have to say it. I have to say it, and it comes from pulsating, ripe, developing titties. Of course, it does. I don't even why.
I can't promise I'm going to answer it, but sure.
Okay. What are the 3 biggest penises you've ever seen in your life?
3 of the biggest penises I've ever seen in my life.
You talked about some dude at school when you guys were at the gym that one time.
Mike, Big Black Mike from junior high.
Mike?
Big Mike. You remember Mike? He's super fucking tall. I forget his last name. Black guy. And
everyone just called him Big Mike.
Big Mike, but he ended up fucking one of the guys' moms from school, and like.
Oh really?
Yeah. So, but anyway, Big Mike.
Go get him, Mike.
We were at the urinal, and I heard stories, man. I heard stories, and you know, I looked, and you know, the dick on this motherfucker, man, it had me second guessing everything about life. And I mean, you know, when you're that age too, right? Right? When you're that age,
dude. Oh yeah, of
course. You're already going, you know, you're already have insecurities, right? Because like everything is new. You know, you watch porn. You're okay, you know, it's a lot of comparisons, right? And I've never like, you know, I've always been like confident. My confidence came after I had started having sex and like started being sexually active.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a lot of confidence beforehand. And this happened before I was, you know, active, right? We were young, like 15 years old or whatever. 14 or 15 at the time, I don't remember. But I was at this urinal, man. I saw this guy's dick, and bro, I mean, I don't know. Maybe in my mind, because I was young, maybe it was bigger than what I imagined. But bro, I mean, he had 3 of my dicks. Soft. Like he had 3 of them. Like I looked down, right? I'm sitting here holding my fucking what I'm gonna call now a pecker in comparison to his fucking hog. God. Right? But I'm like, you know, God damn, bro. Shit. And I didn't even say anything to him. Like I just looked and I was like,
well, what are you gonna say?
I'm like, my God, man. Like what the fuck, bro? Like, I mean, it was fucking huge. But I mean, he's a big black dude.
Oh, he's
like,
huge,
big,
dude.
He's taller than you, bigger.
He's
like I mean,
6'10".
just a big fucking dude. And I heard about this. Like everybody would talk about this guy's dick. There was 2 dudes in school. They would talk about their dick size. It was Mike and Wolf.
These were
Really?
the two guys
Wolf?
that Wolf. Yeah, bro. Apparently that guy's packing. I never saw it, but apparently he's packing. But then again, like in high school, people exaggerate
Everyone
and they say
talks up their
shit. You
shit.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I saw Mike's and motherfucker was packing. And I mean, absolutely. And I don't know how big it was. I mean, I my guess is like soft. It had to have been sitting at 7-8 inches soft.
Oh my God, dude.
With girth.
What?
Big girth.
What?
Like I'm a big dick. Like huge dick. Like he's got to be a shower, not a grower. Like he's got to almost be.
That's a Mandingo situation.
Oh, it was Mandingo. Like it was straight up. It was straight up. It was like he was like fucking holding a hose. Okay. So that's the biggest one I definitely saw. I mean, dude, it's not like I look at many dicks like in person.
Well, that's,
you know what
that's
I mean?
just
like,
it. Like, unless you're in like, there are some places in the world where, you know, like you're in like saunas and stuff where dudes just walking around naked. That's not what it's like here.
Yeah.
So we're not seeing dong all over the place unless you're drenched in porn.
I'm that guy at the gym. Like when I'm at the gym, I'm getting changed, bro. I don't give a fuck, bro. I just take my clothes off and I just fucking grab my towel. I'm the type of guy that I just don't care. I used to be that guy, be like, you know, I pull down my shorts, but I have my towel right around me right away. Bro, I don't give a fuck anymore, bro. I'm sitting at the gym. I'm like, all right, man, I can get a shower. And get down, fucking shit swinging. I don't give a fuck. I'll put my underwear back on. I don't give a shit anymore, bro. I stopped giving a fuck years ago, man.
It reminds me.
But I mean, obviously, I've seen some really nice sized dicks. You know, like just fucking, you know, in changing rooms and fucking random places. But it's not like I'm staring at these dicks. You know, there was one guy at a gym at gym, not recently, but years ago when I used to work out, like in my early 20s. Wasn't even I think he was Hispanic. Wasn't black, but he wasn't white. And I remember I was going into the changing room and I'm in the mirror and I'm fucking flexing and I'm like, I got a pump on. I'm like, I'm flexing. This guy comes in, right? And I've always seen him at the gym and he goes, yeah, man, looking good. And it's always like nice when you get a compliment from like another meathead, like from somebody that's like working out, like gives you that little boost. And I'm like super small in comparison to this guy. This guy's fucking jacked out of his mind, right? And I'm like, hey man, thanks bro, thanks. And he's like, let me show you how you can do a couple of poses. So he starts, I think he just wanted to show off, right? So
yeah, of course.
You know, he takes his shirt off and he's doing his poses and shit. And he's like, yeah, he's showing me these techniques, right? And then all of a sudden, this motherfucker just takes off his pants. Like,
let me show you some poses real quick with my dick.
Well, pretty much, bro. And he takes off his pants and like. This wasn't like, and I can honestly say, this guy, when the way he did it, it didn't come off like creepy or like it. I can't even remember how it was.
That's hard to do when you're just randomly dropping trowel.
But I think it was because he was in the middle of like getting changed and stuff like that. Like we were kind of having a conversation, but we were doing it as we were kind of getting, you know, ready because we did some poses and shit like that. And then, you know, he starts, you know, getting changed because he had just worked out and I had just worked out. So I'm now getting changed, right? But I'm at that stage where I'm young. I got a towel. I'm like, put my shit, you know, I'm doing my thing. And then all of a sudden, dude just drops his fucking pants, right? And he's sitting there having a conversation with me. Dick is swinging. I mean, and I'm like, and at that point, like, it wasn't creepy, but like I was thrown off by it. And we're like 4 or 5 feet away from each other, and we're still kind of having conversations, but he's so nonchalant about it, and his dick was swinging. And I mean, this guy had a dick. Like to the point where I was making sure I didn't drop my towel because I was like, this motherfucker is not making me feel this inadequate right now. And I'm sitting there and the dick is swinging and I'm trying to maintain eye contact with him. He doesn't seem phased. It's almost like he wants me to see his dick. I'm like, bro. And I'm like, I didn't even full look at it, but like I could see it just from eye contact. I'm seeing the shit kind of fucking move in my peripheral. I'm like, the fuck? And that was a big dick too. It wasn't Mike big, but it was a big dick. It was swinging. Like it had a shadow. You know, like it had a shadow.
Fucking casting its own shadow. Holy
Seriously,
shit.
man. I know.
That's great.
He might have been inserting his dominance, man. It could have been it. It was an alpha play. And there was no like it didn't feel like he was trying to like make a move, or it wasn't. No. It was like a natural conversation, but it went from poses to like, yo, I'm just going to drop my pants now while I get changed. And we're just going to keep having a conversation. Like there isn't a fucking mandingo dick just swinging here. I don't know you, bro. This is getting weird, but at the same time, like, all right. Yeah.
Congratulations. Well done. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, because I worked, you know, the summer camps and shit, and I was at the wave pool a lot. And when we were going in, a lot of people were coming out of the pool at the time. You'd get like, unfortunately, it would be mostly old men coming out of the pool because it was like, you know, the senior hours or whatever at the wave pool, and they do not fucking care. And we're not talking about dudes where they're all swinging big dick with shadows. They just don't care anymore. They're just walking around butt ass naked all the time, saggy ass fucking balls and shit, and they just don't care. Dude, just whole ass. And there's one guy in particular that would get, you know, like the hand dryers. Mm-hmm. He would get the hand dryer angled down, and he'd put a leg up on the bench and start drying his balls.
You can't be doing all that in the fucking changing room, man. Get one of those at the house, man, and just sit there and or get a blow dryer, take it home and just go like that. You can't be cocked up like this in the fucking in the damn fucking locker room, sitting there having to air dry out your nuts, bro. Come on, man.
It's crazy, but they don't care. They just so
they just don't give a fuck,
fucks, bro. Like,
they just
you know, they're like
80.
They just don't fucking care. But there was one of the older guys out of all of them. Most of them were just like average white dude dick, you know, nothing. They're not fucking walking around with fucking mandingos with shadows. But there was one of them that unfortunately did definitely have a shadow. The guy, you know, fucking was swinging some serious, and of course, because it's old man on top of that, shit's dangling. Yeah. So it's like the balls have a shadow because they're hanging deep.
A shadow.
Everything's a fucking shadow. And he's walking around the room and he's getting changed and like shit's swinging. It's like slapping his asshole while he's getting his fucking shoes on and shit. It's just, you know, so it's between him doing that shit and then Buddy like drying his fucking nutsack with the friggin' like hand, you know, heater. It's just nightmare fuel.
I wonder what it's like in the girls' locker rooms when they're getting changed. Because in the dudes, right? Especially at the gym. Like I'm going to say the gym. But like a lot of the times the dudes, there's mirrors kind of all over the place, and like you get a pump, you're feeling good, you fucking flexing, you're kind of checking your gains. I wonder if women do the same thing in the locker rooms, and they just like get their asses out. And
I don't think they do it nude, but I think
not
definitely
nude,
do it.
But I mean like got panties on, and they over there like just fucking. Posing out 100%. And just bent over. Okay, all right.
They're doing the sideways, 1 foot back, like ass lift Instagram shot maneuver. Like they're that 100%, 1000% that's happening, no doubt. But beyond that, like I've thankfully not been exposed to so much cock and balls in my life that I have a list of large penises. Yeah. In which to draw reference from that weren't part of some sort of porn I watched as a child. Like I just,
I've seen some pretty fucking small dicks as well. I mean, I've seen some dicks where I'm like,
because they're going to be more common to be on the smaller side than they are a shadow.
I'm like, man, damn.
There is the you know what though? There's the crazier part. So it's the grower shower thing. The funnier part is dude swinging no dick soft, but then somehow out of nowhere, it's like a 7-inch fucking dick and it makes no sense. And then there'll be a dude who's got like a 4-inch fucking soft dong and he ain't got more than 5 when it's rocked up.
Damn.
That's the tough life.
It is. That's the tough life, man. And some people they got the mic dick, 7, 8, 9. I don't even know. 10 inches soft, maybe. Who only knows what it is hard, man?
10 inches. Who knows? Only that one mom. That one mom is the only one.
Dude,
Who knows?
Bro, I don't even know, man.
How do you not pass out? You hit a certain,
well, he made a joke. Well, he made a joke about it because as we got older, like I remember drinking with him when I was like 17, 18 years old in the woods. And we were out drinking, and I had enough liquid courage to go, bro. Like,
you got to tell me.
You got to, yeah. I'm like, I said something along the lines of like, because we were talking about girls, right? And he literally told me he was having a hard time like having sex because his dick was so big. And like, you know, sometimes dudes will joke about that shit, but it's like totally satire. But like, I believe them because at the time, 100%. Like a few years earlier, I'd seen his dick at a urinal, and I'm like, he wasn't even a full grown man at the time, bro. He's like a teenager. Like, what are you now? You know what I mean? Like, I had some serious dick improvements from age 14 to like fucking 18. My dick changed. It wasn't like a huge, but it was a significant change. If that motherfucker had some change, I mean, Jesus, absolute Christ. And I asked him, bro, how do you do it? Like, and he was like, bro, I haven't had sex in a while. Like the girls, they can't take it.
It's too much, bro.
And I'm like, I actually believe you.
It's too much, bro.
It's crazy. It's scary shit, man.
And that's when he's at his prime. Like when you get older, no matter how healthy you are, it gets harder to maintain for like the whole time. Like you're taking breaks, you're trying to work shit back up.
He straight up said he has a hard time staying hard.
Yeah.
Like it takes it's like, bro, it's like, damn, dude, you get that much blood rushing to that muscle? God damn. You getting lightheaded and shit? I wish I had those problems. Damn.
Ah, man.
Actually, I don't know.
I don't think I do.
Know, man. Yeah, no, I don't
think I do.
You know what? I wish I had those problems for like, give me 1 month with that. Just 1 month.
Just for the experience.
Like. Yeah, just pipe a girl down so hard. She's like, gee, don't you dare. It's like, yeah. Just look at it then. You know what I mean? Just pipe them down. Just 1 month. Just give me 1 month with that. Do a lot of damage.
Big Mike.
Big Mike, legend. Man. I don't know what Big Mike's been up to. I don't even know if he still lives in the province, but I haven't seen or heard of Big Mike. Only time I ever talk about Big Mike is when I talk about the dude's dick, which is crazy.
I mean, in fairness, legendary dick. Clearly. Let's see here. David, what does David got here? Apple finally announced the ability to move icons to wherever you want on the home screen, as well as uniform color themes for apps. Holy shit, really? That happened? What year is it?
Wow.
Somebody check the fucking calendar. We made it. It only took them 15 years to adopt this feature. I bet you they talked about it like they literally fucking goddamn invented it, and I bet you the whole crowd cheered like they had just fucking solved the Da Vinci Code. Does this at all change the game for how people perceive the Apple versus Android battle? No, of course not. Why does it take Apple so long to release features like this that have been on Android since the early 2010s? Here's the reason. Apple is largely selling a lifestyle. They're not selling a product. They do have good products, but for the longest time, they're an advertising company before they're a product company. They are selling you a lifestyle most of the time. It's the only way that you can convince somebody to spend $2,000+ on a device that has 1/3 the functionality of your competitor. You cannot otherwise convince somebody to fucking buy that shit unless you're selling them a lifestyle and you're saying your friends have got it, your family's got it, everyone's fucking got the iPhone. They're selling you a lifestyle. And then when they come out and they say, we've got round corners now, and everyone goes, oh, fuck yeah, Apple, round corners. Or, oh, we've got fucking apps that you can move on the home. The fact that that's even a sentence, announced the ability to move icons is insane.
Well, it's weird because I can always move icons. You know what I mean? Like I've been moving
on the home
icons
screen.
on...
I think specifically, I think is what they're, or it's like, and this is the recent, like this just happened this week. Like they did the reveal for this. Yeah,
I don't update my phones for like 3 patches after the fucking update, just on the off chance.
Yeah, that something goes wrong. So yeah, weird. Again, like they're not. And like Apple's thing for a while, it's been worse since Steve has passed. I'll say that much. But Apple for a long time has been, let somebody else figure it out, and then we'll take it, Appleize it, and then usually they would improve upon it in some way. Apple's biggest strength is that it's like a walled garden where they make their own, they're making their own processors now, everything. So it's so efficient. Everything's like this fucking tight run ship. Whereas all of the downsides of all of the bonuses of Android phones having these things ahead of time is that it's more open market, and so it can be far less efficient. And so Apple has that, and that's what they've run on for ages, and that's all it is. So is it going to change people's perceptions? No. Am I happy for am I happy for M, who's on iPhone and will be able to fucking finally do some of this shit? Yeah. Like thumbs up, good job, Apple.
I mean, who has apps on their homepage? Like, you mean on the main screen here?
Like not your lock screen, I don't think, but like the first.
Yeah, I mean, you've been able to move these around forever.
I don't know what they're referencing specifically.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember anybody ever having apps like just right here on their home screen where they just like click on an app. I guess.
I don't know what exactly they're fucking referencing. Okay, I do know that coloring the apps have not been a thing. Like you can't color the icons and shit like that. That level of customization has been locked.
Yeah. I'm not a customization guy anyway, so
to
me it's fuck ever, bro.
I think they mean the lock screen. Oh. Okay, well that would make sense.
Okay.
It's sorted from the top left to bottom right. Oh, you mean in terms of like free form? Oh, it's free placement. I gotcha. Okay. So instead of it being locked to a grid, it's you can put it wherever you want. Cool. Last one for today. Yolth, what is your favorite month/season of the year? I can tell you right now, it's October. Not today.
October.
I would say historically,
if I'm being honest,
September.
September, if I'm really being honest.
Yeah.
But I do like October for the first, I love October for the first 2 weeks. So if I could take like half of October and then the half of the end of summer, the end of September, like if I could take that 30-day chunk, that's the best. But if I actually just had to pick a month here in Nova Scotia for the best weather, September. Because in September, you still get your 25 degrees. You might get like 1 or 2 scorcher days. But then, the majority of it is still 20 to 22 degrees. And then it starts to cool down. Exactly. It's just nice. It's just nice.
Yeah. No, that's mine. It's September for sure. And even more so, more recent Septembers. Because when we were growing up, September was actually really cold.
Now it's warm.
So I would say like late August back then when we were kids was probably better, but now late August is still like 29, 30 degree fucking heat waves, and then only after you get a week, 2 weeks, sometimes even into September, do you finally get the 25 to like 20 to 25 average instead with the cooler, breezes and stuff. But that's definitely September for sure. And then like that brief weekend, Thanksgiving Day weekend where all the leaves are changed colors is dope. And then we're in hell immediately following.
Yes,
just
for 5
sheer
months.
Hell immediately following that. That is, I believe, it for... Well, here, I'll ask this one real quick because it's probably a quick answer for Jeff specifically. This is from Ace High. Said, Jeff, I know you're not planning on having more children, but if a stork brought you one, what would you want to name your new son/daughter? Have you guys talked about the possibilities of a second and what names might be?
We've talked about a second, and we're both no. No. It's just not happening. But if it were to accidentally happen,
yeah.
I can't really think of any names. I mean, if we had a daughter, I was gonna name her after my grandmother, which is Maxine.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably still do that. And in a son, I don't know. I'd give Kayla the free reins to name a son because, you know, I chose Kai.
Yeah.
Selfishly, don't tell her that, although she probably already knows, but it's kind of a callback to Dragon Ball Z,
Of course it is, yes.
And also I just like the name. It's short, it's to the point. And I actually just can't picture him being called anything else, which is,
well, especially now.
And I've tried, like I've sat there and go, I wonder, because
what if we called him Steven?
Yeah, I mean, Gavin was a name that was discussed.
Oh!
Gavin was a name that was discussed. I know. And then when I said Kai, we both were like, I think that might be it. It just felt right. And which is crazy because I did I don't think I've ever told Kayla this, but I did kind of like think of all the Dragon Ball Z names that I
Which
thought
can I adopt?
Like there's no way that you call your son Vegeta or Goku or Gohan or something like that. Like that's ridiculous, right? But then I was like, you know what though? King Kai sounds pretty cool. And in his room, Kayla actually made him clouds.
Painting
There's a painting, and then there's Nimbus, and there's a few other things, and then there's King Kai pop. Those little pop toys
Funko
or whatever
Pop.
the Funko Pops. So there's that on his wall, like in the clouds. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
That's good.
So,
that worked out.
yeah.
That worked out. We're still we've thrown around because we know we're going to try later this year. But we've thrown around a bunch of names and we haven't landed on anything major yet. We've landed on middle names for sure, but we haven't landed on first names. So,
why do I feel like, Adam, if you have a son, bro, I feel like you're going to name your son just a generic white boy name. Like, I feel like you're going to have like John, I feel like you're going to have like,
I wouldn't do John because it's like my uncle and there's
I know, but it's like,
yeah, but I know what you mean.
But something along those lines, like you just seem like the type that is going to be like, straight up, like, hey, this is Joe, not Joe, but like this
won't be anything like that.
Yeah.
My last name is not an easy one to like slap a name in front of and have it not sound fucking weird. It's just the nature of the beast. And so more plain names do sound better with my last name. That being said, it's not my priority to give a like super generic name. I would like, if it's a son, I actually wanted to like traditionally either by middle name or first name, the Morehouse family for like, I'm not even joking, almost 500 years has had a Jones Morehouse as a male in every generation for as far back as we have a lineage that's on paper. And so I've been trying to pitch this to M. She's not feeling it as a first name. She likes it as a second name, but she's not feeling it like as a first name. But I still might try to like twist her arm on that one if that's the case.
But you also got to think nicknames, right? So like when you're a parent,
what comes to mind.
You got to think,
what can
like
this
Kai,
be twisted by some fucking crazy ass child?
Well,
to turn
not
it into
only
a
that.
meme?
Well, yes, not only that. I didn't really mean it that way, but you do make a point.
That's what I think about.
It's more so what you guys will say for, because for Kai, we actually added a name and we call him. I've always called him Kai Kai.
Yeah, of course.
So,
double up.
not just Kai, just doubled it up, right?
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I just naturally call him Bud because my dad called me Bud my whole life. Like it's weird now, even still today, he calls me Bud a lot. So I just naturally call him Bud a lot. Or son. I would just literally say, "Hey, son." I say son a lot.
Yeah.
But you got to also think like, okay, well, if you name your son or your daughter a name, what does it sound like when it's short? Because you say your child's name so much that you just shorten it up, right? So you got to.
But if you have a 1-syllable name, then you can't shorten it any further.
Then you can't really shorten it up. You almost got to extend it, or just say, or just come up with a generic as like, oh, hey, what's up, boo boo? You know what I mean? Like something like a weird thing. Question is she taking your last name, bro?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
That's what's up.
Yes, she is.
That's what's up. That's what's up. She hyphenating, or that's it?
Well, I think she just wants to take the last name. I gave her the option. Like, I actually don't fucking care. I said, you can do whatever you want as long as the children have my last name. I don't care. And that's because on my side of the family, I'm the last to carry on the name, and so that was important for me to be able to carry the name on. Whereas on her side, she's got her brother and to carry on their name and whatnot. So as long as that was the case, that was fine. But she's fine with it. She wants to take the last one, and it makes for an easy nickname. I already call her M, but last name Morris, she's now M&M. She's dropping the hottest mixtape. Dropping the hottest mixtape of the summer.
M&M,
right?
I kind of like it.
So it's easy. So. But as far as nicknames, like, I don't mind that, because like our nicknames in this family are usually not related to your name, like, at all. It's just a
just a random name that you just
my grandfather's nickname for my mother was Nightmare Alice.
Nightmare Alice.
He gave nicknames that made almost no sense, and now it's my Uncle John who gives everyone nicknames. So really, whatever I pick won't matter, because John will be guaranteed the one who's handing out all the nicknames. So it won't matter. But yeah, I'm campaigning for Jones. On the girls' side, I don't know. I tried to pitch Nan's name, Eileen, because I like the name in general. Mm-hmm. But she was like a little wishy-washy on that. She wants my mom's middle name as the middle name for the girl, which I don't. So maybe that's my compromise. She can keep the middle name, and then I can take the first.
So will you guys go and do the whole like see what the sex of the baby is beforehand, or are you gonna wait until the baby pops out and be surprised on the spot?
That's a really tough question. I feel like we could answer that now, and then when the time comes, our answer could change. Like, maybe we go in and say, yeah, we want to know.
What's your gut say? Like, what's your gut say? Like, what, like, because
I'm a guy,
remember,
I'm logical. I want to know so I can buy stuff ahead of time specifically.
There you go.
Like, that's, as a guy, like, that's my answer.
Yeah,
but then
because you got to unisex everything beforehand, if not, and then kind of add the color afterwards.
And so we might go that route. We might keep it secret from everyone. Like, when we're past the 3 months, we'll say, we're pregnant. But then if we know, we might just still hold it until like a baby shower or something, where we'll then announce it. I don't know, but I would say, knowing how much she likes to plan anything, she's the list girl. She has a list for fucking everything.
Okay.
We're probably going to know.
Yeah, you're knowing.
We're probably going to know. But yeah, we've talked about a bunch of names. We've just we haven't landed on.
You ready for twins?
She's pulling some crazy shit. Don't say that out loud, because the problem is there's twins. There are twins in the family. My mom is a twin.
You ready for them? You ready for them? You ready?
Nobody is anyone ever ready for twins?
No.
Especially on your first go around.
But I've always been told, if you want to have 2 kids, having twins is the easiest way to do it. The easiest way to do it. I mean, obviously you can't choose, but if it happens, oh God, bless.
There are twins in the family.
All right, so I have one piece of advice. Leading up, before you guys start trying, better start exercising, bro. You better start stretching, because once you have decided that you're going to try.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's constant. I know it's different.
She's different, bro.
Be firing
She's
blanks.
different. And I'm telling you, if you don't have super sperm like I did, and I mean, I went, and it was like Insta. I think we fucked 3 times, bro. And you know what? I remember the nut. You will know.
You have said you remember.
You will know. I made a baby. right? You will know. But I'm telling you, for whatever reason, not everybody is as fortunate as us where, we instantly get pregnant and, so, if this is a thing where you're trying for a month or 2 months or 3 months and then it happens, bro, you need energy and you need to get into the zone because there will be a demon that will come amongst your wife.
Yes.
And you will not be ready for this. You're going to say, I'm not 21 anymore. And she's going to say, shut the fuck up and stick it. Right. And it's going to turn into like, okay, you know what? I'm due for my period here. So we're going to have sex at exactly 2:58, 7 p.m. All right. And then we're going to wake up at 1:45 a.m. All right. It'll give us enough time to take a quick shower. You know what? Fuck the shower. Stick it. That's that. This is what it's going to turn into. You better get in shape, bro. Get that stamina. You don't need to be jacked. You just need to get your stamina.
Just stamina.
Up.
It's true.
Because we're talking more than once a day now.
It's true.
We're talking. You're going to be. It's going to happen. So
it's the Futurama meme of the what is it what is the saying the mind is willing but the flesh is what is it like squishy and something like that. It's like the mind is willing but I've got nothing left in the tank.
Dick don't even get hurt anymore. You're like, dude, what's going on? Because when Kayla got pregnant, right? I mean, we were fucking all the time. But she was already pregnant. We didn't even know.
Yeah, you don't know for a period of time anyway.
You don't know until you know, right? I mean, fortunately, she found out pretty quick. And it was like, dude, I was surprised. It's like, already? What the fuck? Like, I was just starting to get into my fucking groove here. I was kind of enjoying this change. But then also, Adam, you got to realize what's going to happen is shit's going to get real. You're going to do a lot of fucking.
It's true.
And then she's going to get pregnant and then it's going to be all about the baby and it's going to be all the stuff. And then all of a sudden it's going to click again and it's going to be more fucking like the pregnancy hormones go nuts.
There's a crazy,
and it's like,
it's true.
It's like, dude, it's like, I can't anymore. Shut up, bitch. Get down here and you better do something. Hey, okay. And then it'll go from that to, after that, you're going to be sustained. They ain't doing shit.
They ain't doing shit for a hot minute.
Yeah. And if you're in Texas, you can't even watch Pornhub. So you're doubly
down
fucked.
Down
bad. So Godspeed. I'm excited for you.
My fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a madhouse. Madhouse in here. That's the name of my first son. Madhouse Morehouse. That's Alan's name.
Yes.
My cousin Ben always made the joke that he was going to name his first son Thunder.
Thunder.
just Thunder. For the sport. Just as he's playing sports, he said, "I always wanted the announcer to
come on, Thunder. Let's go, Thunder.
Thunder as an announcer would be fucking hilarious. So yeah, Thunder. That's the Thunder and Lightning. But Usain Bolt kind of beat him to the punch on that one, unfortunately. So that spot's been taken. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna end it there. We got some StarCraft to cast. I got a fucking heat pump to turn back on before I die in here. And so we'll leave you on that high note. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoyed yourselves. We will see you again next week. And until then, you'll have some StarCraft in between. And so until then, have a good morning, afternoon, or evening. Stay safe out there. And peace.
Hey.